Mina ngiyamthanda umuntu onjengoChester. Inkinga enginayo ukuthi uChester makakhuluma eyisibaningi kade sikhuluma la. Kuzoba nenkinga namhlanje. Singibona ukuthi ngoba nikhuluma nje niyakwazi ukucula. Thina. Isikhalo somntomtshasi ho yeah wenukhalelani hayibo isikhalo somntomtshasi ho yeah wenukhalelani Zizochi. Okay, niyabona. Ngifuna ukuthola ukuthi umuntu owesibili onesibindi ongangitshela ukuthi mhlambe eKasilami old lady akhala kanjani yini le abayikhala ngathi. Nawuza umuzo wami uthini? Sini bakhala mekuthiwa kudlula thina bayakhala tot khala yini lebakhala ngayo abantu abadala akudingi ukuthi uze la phambili nangulifa angeza kuwena ngicela ngingiphakamisela isandla nasi isandla lapha yana lifa yo bathongwa ithingi lifa ke motho wa Kopitori bulela Setswana ke Natal mo ke Newcastle abuthi sikhuluma isiZulu la nasi isandla lapha yana all right asithola ukuthi uba igama ukuthi ufuma kuphi bese before ukhulume wonke umuntu esiyathula ngithi sihlonipheni umuntu okhulumayo sola ukuthi uba igama ubuya kuphi yini lento abazali abakhala ngayo ngathi
sanibonani
sure
igama lami ngugugu akazikalala ngiphuma ku ward 8
okay
abazali bayakhala ngathi ngoba asayenza izinto eziright emakhaya siyatshontsha yabona nasemphakathini bayabalisa abantu ngathi sebeze basipha amagama yabona abanye bethu amaphara akekho umuntu owazali umntana wakhe wafisa ukuthi umntana wakhe abe yilento esesiyiyo namhlanje ngesimanga seyidakamizwa kodwa sesiyithola sesinjena namhlanje siyacela ukuthi silithole usizo ngempela siyalidinga siyabonga
yo okay usister Gugu iqala kahle ukuthi bayakhala siyantshontsha sisizophiwa namagama nje singabona khona nje umunye ubhuti kade nginaye namhlanje ubusifo mana ngoba mfethu esa ugrave mfethu manje umuntu wakho bona mathi umuntu babanza nomuntu abajide ngabona eqeleza nje okay ubeki hey ningu sawotho ligcwelela nje uyalibona okay osithola umuntu wesithathu mhlambe ophethe inyongo enesibindi eceleni ozokasho ukuthi ke ngoba uthi manje usisigugu ukhulume indaba ukuthi nathi asisathandi mina kimi ngithanda ukuthi ibe umdidi ke le izulu kade lezo thanda uba umdidi ke kimi leyo iyangidida ngoba phela ukuthi khona lento le oyishayayo uyishaya ngalendlela ukuthi uzuphiwe negama bese uthi kodwa usathandi phoke indaba ngiqhubeka gugu ivule kamnandi gugu ngifuna ngidinga omunye okay awuvele duze awubakithi si okay singaphapha phambili cela usitshela ukuthi ubani igama ubuya kuphi mongeke comfortable ukusho igama lakho ngicela ukuthi lithi hello ngicela ukuba anonymous nanyizwa ngithi uvumelekile ukuba anonymous ngiyakubona mfethu solandela ngawe nje emva kwasisi asiqale ngosisi
sanibona njani
siyakubona nathi
ngusindisiwe ngakandlovu ngiqhamuke emlazi lento esho sisigugu khona iqiniso ngoba bayakhala abazali noma undlule emgaqweni nalephara sometimes uyavuka ekseni ngoba lezi zinto esibhema ayihlukile ngoba sila sibhema into efanayo khona abajovayo khona ababhema ngephepha khona ababhema ngefoil khona ababhema ngebhodlela ezinjengami mina ngibhema ngebhodlela
wena ushaya ngebhodlela
mina ngibhema ngebhodlela mama yebo so abanye bethu usevuka ekseni vele uvuke nedown akakwazi ukwenza lutho mayebona ingane story phethe 50 rand kumele vele athathe lo 50 rand kuze azokwazi ukuthi ahamba yoqaqa
asibambe kanjalo nangu deputy minister esithi deputy minister uTovito uDeputy Minister Tovito officials, come on, you can do better than that. Shit. I'm a government officials. Ooh, yeah, yeah. So bafethu ashayizani leadership lale phansi. Mhlambe before ngisukele, before ngihlale phansi, cela ukuthi sithathe isandla sokugcina. Ena asilungisele le ndaba mfethu. Before ngidlulisa ku program director, cela ukuthi sithathe isandla sokugcina sivale session yethu. Bhuti sovala ngawe. Sithi. Oh, okay. Usisindi. Hey, nawuza kumphathi. Usudeputy minister bengena la uthulise usinde bengaqedi. Sindi, cela iphindele kusindi Mike. Usasitshela ukuthi abazali bayakhala ngathi. The floor is yours.
Kunjalo sisibakhala ngempela ngoba izinto esizenzayo azikho right. Sometimes ugcina uyodayisa ngesimanga sokuthini ufuna lento osuke ifuna ngaleso sikhathi. And emva kwaloko mase kuphele futhi sekuphele egcineni behamba benzani umahosho bhemayi, iparade bhemayi. Ngoba usuke ufuna ukwenza ukuthi ubheme wena abayazi inkinga onosuke uhlangane nayo. Umunye umuntu uzokhuluma ngoba engazi. Nawe ukuthi umuntu uyakuhlulela. Uje akasuna uJesu ngizothi uyiphoyisa because iphoyisa mangabe uyebopha umuntu noma ungafika uqamba manga lizohamba liye kuye. Umuntu ufika kuhlulele engabe uyakubiza kubuze ukuthi lento oyenzayo yenziswa yini. Ngoba sila asifani asicabanga futhi ngokufana. Futhi ngiyacabanga ukuthi ngoba sizela impilo zethu sisasebancane sizobuyela sinamakusasa. Sizobuyela siqhubeke sibe right maybe kusasa lokho sangathiwa ngithola umsebenzi. Kusasa lokho sangathiwa sengivulisa lunyama ngoba ngumuntu wamakhanda abantu. So ilento engishoyo ukuthi umuntu akangangijudge because akangazi ukuthi ngila ngikhona ngokwenza njani. Kodwa usisigugu ngiyambonga mina ngoba ukwazile ukungibiza azangangijudge azangangihlulele. Ungibizile lokho abathi ngiyikho yena akakwazi futhi akubonanga. Ungibizile wahlala nami phansi. Wathi Sindi ungakhona ukwenza u1 no2 no3 ngavumela phezulu ngathi yebo. So ngiyacela ukuthi sonke ngathi singashintsha. Njengabo bonke abantu sinathi sifane singabizwa ngamagama. Ngiyabonga.
Ashayizandla bese. Abaphathi befikile kodwa kufanele ngisikhathi sana lesokugcina. Mfethu sivala ngawe. Program director uzola ngaphambili siqale uhlelo. Ngiyaqolisa kakhulu abaphathi sivale ngoku. So, bese ikhumusha ikhuzu la deputy minister ngantshela ipansula la ngempela ngantshela ukuthi hey yabo girl lo sazombona kahle. So bese ubani igama mfethu mongafisa ukulisha igama lakho yakhumbula ngithe ungathi ukuthi hello my name is anonymous. Ngene edabeni.
Sanibonani.
Sure siyakubona.
Yebo, ninjani?
Siyaphila mfethu njani?
Igama ngubongomusa ngokakheso. Ngihlala eMlaza. Kusho ukuthi mina nginenkinga mina. Nginenkinga senginesikhathi eside manje ngibhema manje yazi. Senginesikhathi eside impela.
Ubhema.
Mina ngibhema lokho kubhenywa ngebhodlela.
Bottleneck.
Yeah, bottleneck. Le ayibathi indanda ingidi.
Okay.
Hayi khona ngisayifuna bengisacela nje ukuthi Nkosi yami angathola usizo lokuthi ngiyiyeke lento ngithole into futhi engizoyikhipha busy ngayo. Mhlawumbe njengomsebenzi inoba into esenze ukuthi singalokhu ukuthi sisebenzi sihlalela yona leyo nto leyo. Ukuthi sibheme nje masingathi umthetho ungasiza ngokuthi usiphe umsebenzi nje Nkosi yami sikwazi ukuthi nathi silungise ukuthina siyiclean. Ngiyabonga.
No. Kukhona lezi u3 kufanele siqede ngazo uthi umphathi singaqhubeka just the last 3 hands. Kodwa sithole uthi indanda le kade uyibhema for how long? Imalini indanda uyitholaphi? ngoba uthi umsebenzi awukho uthenga ngani
mama senza zama ngazo zonke indlela zokuthi senza izinto ezirong ukuze sithole lento ukuthi sibheme sikwazi ukusilale
njengani mfethu
ubugebengu kanti kube ngithiwa ngiyasebenza abe ngiyazi ukuthi ngidla yonke imali yami emholo ngendanda
Futhi nawo lo mholo lo ufuna ukudlela la kwindanda
angisho kanjalo mama bengisacela nje into engizoyikhipha busy ngiphume kuyo oba manje angisayifuni
Okay ikhona imizamo ke wayenza before ukuthi uyekele
ngeke ngazama
uzame kanjani
ngizamile ngathi ngiyazama nje ukuyeka nje ukuthi nje ngiyayeka nje negazi ngiyalala awangalaleka
so wena uthi udinga usizo usukhathele manje indanda ufuna ukuphuma ufuna iphume egazini lakho ufuna iphume kwisystem yakho bese udinga nanosizo ukuthi kube khona into ongayikhipha
yebo Nkosi yami
alright izande lezokugcina yakhumbula ukuthi sidila ngabantu abanesibindi esinenyongo eceleni sidila ngabantu abanesibindi abazoyenza ukuthi isession yethu namhlanje iqhubeke ngoba dinga ukuthi sibeke amaqiniso etafuleni manje ngoba kuyisa ngithi siyasho ukuthi abazali bayakhala mase sizizojika izinto wena mawucabanga luphu lo shintsho lolu ngiyabona ama programs kusazolonjwa namhlanje uDeputy Minister uzokhuluma ngeintention ukuthi why sila namhlanje kade ningibize emakhoneni ukuthi soyenzani namhlanje but wena mawucabanga uluphi lo shintsho kufanele ukuthi silenzeni thina siyithi nasisanda sakho lapho lifa abuti lifa kupa abuti all ke lebogile abuti
sanibona egama usibusiso bathi uMakenzi umTsaron kushuthi nginenkinga la na 14 years ngibheme ngidi angisazi ukuthi ngizoyiya kanjani kushuthi mangenayo imali ukuthi ngibheme ngidi mhlawumbe ngizolala ngo7 ngo12 ngivuka engizohlangana naye nje phelile ngaye kushuthi nje omama makuthi baye emsebenzini ngihlangana nabo phelile ngaye ngifike ngithatha lokho engifunayo ngiyazi ukuthi kushaya u7 emini ekseni hawu mina ngisayo kuyophanta senginayo yonke into engiyazi ukuthi hayi vele mawuthi ngibona ukuthi namhlanje bazongibona ake ngiphume ngenye indlela ngivele ngigqoke igown ngizenza usisi mayiqhamuka ngibona ukuthi hayi usisi bangibona ukuthi ebona ukuthi uyangisolanyana bese ngikhipha igwegwe ngihamba kanje uyabona ukuthi naye cha hayi umfana ongathi uright lo bangifike eduze kwakhe bese yabona ukuthi chawu kanti umfana onje sengiyamcela ukuthi acela ungiboleka asi ngibolekeni ngithi ifoni noma imali kukuwe kuze nami ngizokhona mayingafuni ke ngicine ngenza izinto ezimbi emhlabeni nami sacela nje ukuthi into engakhona ukungiyekisa ingidi ngoba manginemali mhlawumbe ngalala ngo12 ngizovuka ngo4 nginayo imali ngiqhubeke ngibheme hayi iphela imali mhlawumbe ngabo 2 sengiyacabanga ngizokwenza njani ngiyabona ukuthi okushuthi ngasekhaya kune-strip yards kunabafana abahlezi bayokala khona hayi ngimlinde ngizobalinda ngaphandle ngibona ngibuka isikali laphana ukuthi ukale ngakhe hayi sichaza isikali ukuthi hayi ngibona ukuthi hayi lo uyaganga ngimazi nangimazi ethi ephuma nje ngithi uxolo kancane mfowethu sengiyamthathela
so uthi even if ubhuti uyancedakala ukuthi kukhona abanye abanamatoho ababhizi discrep yard abaqoqayo abazamayo ukuthi kube khona umsebenzi abazenzela wona wena uvimba labo
angithi khona laba abaqhamuka bathi uzoqhamuka nemthwalo mhlawumbe uphethe ubhaka hayi mhlawumbe uhambisa ikhophi ngiyasho ukuthi hayi ngifike ngibuke ngime ngaphandle kwesango ngilunguze lapha esikayeni kulisikala abantu sathi 10 kg awu ngiyazi u60 rand about 10 awu nginemali lapho awu yena uhambe ngenalutho yebo
alright
yeah
no asishayini izandla wazi kanzima asishaye izandla iba ngcono ke mayinjena district mayor iba ngcono mayinjena ngoba uhulumeni shintsha amagiya manje kuphelile ukuthi sihlale lapha ku laptop sithi Google why do young people use drugs uDeputy Minister uyasihola impela uthi asize emphakathini sizwe khathi before design ama programs lapha yana ePretoria asizwe ngabantu from the horse's mouth basho kanjalo ngeEnglish last lady khona sizaba uthu kuphela Okay. Angizwe from the last lady. Ini ongafisa ukuyishintsha wena self. Mengathiwa unayo ngidinga usisi ongakakhulumi. Yini lento le ocabanga ukuthi osike ngilungise la. Nokuyibuza la ngazi noma abaphathi sebenakile yini ukuthi kugcwele amajita. Angazi ukuthi kuchaza ukuthini lo kodwa sizoyini from the ladies. Ubani igama usisimo ongafuni ukuthi kulisho igama ongafisi uthi anonymous, it's okay.
Igama lami nguNomfundo ngaSithebe ngisuka eManzana ngokuhlala. Mina nginenkinga la ngibhema inyawo. Ngiyajova injection sengiza ngisathandi. Ngathele manje. Ntshontsha kwasana ekhaya ngishuma musa kezathani naye. Angisafuni. Ngicela usizo.
Yeah, sesifuni izandla. Ngicabanga ukuthi asibambeni kanjalo angazi noma nizwile yini le pain ekulizi lakhe ukuthi ngempela kube kuthiwa nje yakwazi ukupress ibutton ngabe lenyawo iseyaphuma kwangempela akasafuni kwangempela. Siqala uhlelo lethu la namhlanje usisi Masudo ngathi usefike wangibhabhadisa la ukuthi sesiqhubeka nohlelo soqhubeka sisemsebenzini. Mhlambe Dr. Ngubani ungakhona ukuthi uze ngaphambili nakho sesivele safika saba busy sakhuleka kodwa manje sisafisa ukukhumbula namajazi ngoba ngathi kuthanda ukushisa namhlanje. As welcome leadership. Mengithi leadership nina nithi ship. Leadership. Ship. Mengithi mina ship nina nithi leadership. Ship. Nazo.
Wonderful. Mphathi wehlelo. Thank you so much. Thank you. Ngiyabonga kakhulu. Sanibona Majimbozi. Hola kunjani? Ni grand sharp kodwa. Ngempela. Uyazi uthini? Kufanele ngabe ngiyanazi nonke, indaba enganazi nonke. Uhlala kuphi? Emountain ngiyeza nje nami. Kodwa anikaze ningibize mina. Hayi. Ngathi anifuna ukungibiza impela nje. Niyafuna ukungibiza? Ngizonikeza inamba ningibizeke ne. Ngizonikeza inamba ningibize. Angibingelele la njengoba sibuyabona sihanjelwe a special deputy minister. Special. Yabona ngithi special. Ingoba uyambona nawe ukuthi special. You know. Uthe mangabe fika wathi wasiyala wathi ngabe ngifika la uma ngabe siya kwi program ethize sihamba kanjani ne step sakho na siyashintsha naso futhi so vele sashintsha step angithi shishi no mina ngumeya wasemajuba ke la eMajuba district niyazi eMajuba ina bomasipala bangaki omasipala basemajuba bathathu imuphi awusho yedwa nje umasipala Utrecht yes bese kuba yini futhi Danauza yebo bese kuba idistrict inomasipala abathathu niushilo oqala Utrecht nayisho iDanauza awunansoke ayisipheleleke bese ke yonke ibizwe ngemajuba mina ke ngikumeya wasemajuba ngithi ikakho ngithi mina fanele ningibize hawo ke sihlale nani nje madoda bobosisi nabobhuti ke sihlale phansi sithi uxoxa singathi silinde u-deputy minister afike all the way from Wipito Cape Town ezela you know Funeka sihlalele thina sisodwa. Athi sifika sesimxoxele ukuthi kuhamba kanje kanje kanje. Angithi kunjalo majimbos. Angithi kunjalo. Ukuze nosisi nje kade ekhuluma lana edabukisa ekhuluma ethi ufuna ukuyeka. Kube sesixoxile into yakhe sesiyazi sesinohlelo sesineprogram esizohamba kuyona ukuthi ayisoyenze njani siyenze njani. Angithi kunjalo. Kade sikhuluma nje kulezi insuku ezedlule sikhuluma ngemisebenzi. You know, ngoba ngiyazi ukuthi nifuna amatoha ngithi nifuna ukusebenza ngithi. And futhi ngalelanga leliyana I think nje about 3 weeks ago khona la kule venue sasi awada abo Helman Mkhelele namazi Helman Mkhelele anmazi angithi niyazi ukuthi umsebenzi wakhe yini manje assistant coach awunazoke asimshayele izandla assistant coach bafana ubekade ehamba nofana Madide bela ufana Madide ngithi yazi ukuthi ucoacha ini coacha iphi yona so awunazoke bambe yona impela ehamba sengikhohle igama lakhe usisi icoach ye banyana ubela naye wala district eMajuba abala bonke labo ngikhuluma ngabo yabona so sasisithi ke thina njengathi as leadership yala eMajuba sihlangene sonke kufanele siyilungise indaba iyakuthi senze isport la kungabikho abantu abazohlala bathi mina ayi ngina sengigcina sengihlale ebhodleleni nesengihlala kuphi kunyawo open yonke into ngoba angikho ndawo yokuthi ngiyodlala isport angikwazi ukuthi ngiyothola indlela yokumixa kahle ngenze izinto ezokwenza ukuthi ngikwazi ukuyiphilisa ngoba angithi vele niyafuna ukuyiphilisa nana ngithi lento enishoyo nisho ngenhliziyo engemnandi ukuthi ukuthi ngabothiwa ekseni uhambo uyomisa umama eyidlulela ucela ukuthi akuboleke le iphone kanti uyayithatha njalo konke lokho awukwenzi ngoba ukuthanda ngithi konke awukuthandi kodwa manje sekukhona into ekwenzisayo lezi zinto lezi angithi so ingakho ngithi ke siyafuna ukuthi siyilungise lezo zinto lezo ke ezinye zazo sifuna ukulungisa indaba yeMonte Vista ngithi ngiyabona iMonte Vista la kwakukhona ikhasini lokuqala khona yethi yala eMajuba le ndawo kufuneka sishintshe ibe indawo yesport train khona kwenziwe zonke izinto wonke ama sporting activities sikwazi ukuthi nawo uma ufika khona ubone ukuthi hayi kanti ngilana impela nabi ngingakhipha italent elami ngoba ngithi sinama talent sonke nje baselana nje sinama talent nje kufanele sikwazi waveze siwabonise la ukuthi iMajuba ngempela kanti iyakwazi ukuthi ingakwenza izinto eziningi njengoba sibona kukhona abo Helman Mkhelele kukhona abofana Madide nabanye abadlali nabanye obaba asebe retire kodwa beshintsha impilo zabantu ebeyishintshela ekutheni abenze into abaphiwe yona italent labo ukuze libakwazi ukuthi ngaleli talent benze izinto ezizokwazi ukuthi ngelinye ilanga sikukhumbule ngakho ukuthi uyakhumbula usukaphi wena ngempela uyabona la usukhona njengamanje kube uwena okhuthaza nabanye ngithi cha mina la ngime khona njengoba ngishilo ukuthi sihamba no deputy minister ukhona nomama lana okhona uma ngibona experience yakhe nje ngithi hayi kusho ukuthi kufanele kumtancike kakhulu kuyena ngoba kuningi ofanele kumama umiyeza sifunde okuningi kuyena ngoba uma ngabe waba uMEC waba icounselor waba ispeaker waba umayor waba konke esiyikho thina hayi isipiliyoni siningi kakhulu bese ukuthi in addition to that bese abe sekutheni athathe interest niyabona ukuthi ninakeleke kangakanani akuyena akhona ukuthi abantu abala etafuleni abantu nje angathini abazamayo nje ukuthi babe usize emphakathini nakule sector enikiyona nani cha abantu abayinikele ngempela abathi kukho konke ne-experience esenginayo sengifuna ke manje ukuthi ke ngenze konke okusemandleni ukuthi lesi simo salabantwana lesi simo salabo baba ngabe benemindeni yabo bekhulisa imindeni yabo mina ngifuna ukubasiza manje with the experience enginayo njengoba sazi uku Central Drug Authority thina njengoba njenge district anti-substance abuse forum esikiyona nathi ifola under vele isector yakhe okuyiyona ayiphetheyo so njengoba elana nje si reporta kuye when it comes to ama issues afana nalawo bese kuthi ngale kwakhe kukhona uspeaker wala eMajuba njengoba sisebenza naye la naye futhi ekhona sizokwazi ukuthi ngokubambisana sibonisana ukuthi ngempela silelelana kanjani silungise zonke lezi zimo eningayithandi kwazi nangokwenu eningasafuni ukuba kulezi indawo enifuna ukuba enitholene kuzona so ngalawo mazwi ngithi ke namukelekile ngicela nizwe nisekhaya emajimbo sangithi ngicela nibe sekhaya ngicela nazi ukuthi ningxenye yethu ningayiboni ukuthi umuntu bangabe mhlambe ezobona noma kudlula uspeaker or kudlula mina bese angidoje ngibaleke cha qonda nje unizokhuluma nami ayikho into engihlulayo lokho ukuthi ukhulume nami kusho ukuthi yazi uthini meya yazi nginenkinga e1 2 3 4 uyisho nje futhi ungalokho ukuthi hayi ngoze ngiye office mawuhlangana nami nje ngimise impela ukhulume nami ufuna ukukhuluma nami ngeke ngemi ngikhulume nawe so ngisho ukuthi njengoba silana nje sizokwazi ukuthi chaza lesingalenza lokubambisana lokulekelelana nanokuthi nani nibone ngempela ukuthi cha niyaphuma kulezi zimo enikuzona cha labo kwamazwi nje la ukunamukela okwazi nizizwe nikho nisekhaya kusekhaya vele ke manje basenisekhaya hayi uma ngabe bese kufudumele ungayikhipha ijacket nje uthi uyigaxa nje esitulweni khona uzobona ukuthi hayi kusekhaya ngempela sowamukelekile ngiyabonga kakhulu
Thank you. Sibonge kakhulu. Kukhona ke indaba ongayazi district mayor umuntu umela ngaphambili ubuya ePretoria from national office sibuya ku Youth Development Directorate umphathi nguye la uDeputy Minister kodwa ekhaya ila wasemadadeni mina section 4 ugogo wami ulapha ePlobosh nayazi ePlobosh so manje umbabadisi lo sisimathutho ngase ebenobizo nje khona into evele yamtshela ukuthi hae iGPS location akudirect lo iprogram lo ozofike afike akhulume ulimi lwasekhaya owala eNewcastle kahle kahle mina ngisekhaya ngizodla nje umdoko nje ntambama lapha kumama sibonge kakhulu ukhulume kahle umeya uthi maningi amathalente ahleli la kodwa manje amathalente ngeke akhona ukuthi ahambiselane nezinye izinto esihamba nazo okufanele kube khona okusalayo cela ukuthi ngaphandle kokumosha isikhathi sibize ubaba Alpha Mahlaku ntate Mahlaku kinatali khemo Rimon Natalimo kupa Setswana sa Pitori sine Pitori sinyaka siZulu rikupa siZulu mu sicela ukuthi sifisa ukwazi ukuthi obani abantu abakhona la endlini namhlanje khathi nathi mesikhuleka sibe sazi ukuthi mhlambe mase sekufanele ukuthi ngidonse umuntu eceleni umzila umeyi uthe noma uhlangana nayo ngamdonsa kodwa manje sicinga usazi ukuthi ngempela lo baba ekhuluma la uba sicela nisithulele wonke ama guests wethu akhona namhlanje sizokhona ukuthi siqhubeke nohlelo siyabonga.
Chairperson, I'm married in community of property, so I have delegated my wife, Miss Mahlaku, to do the work for me.
Sanbonani, ninjani, siyaphila, siyabonga kakhulu. Angisume Sis Mahlaku. Nguzethu Mdlalose. Ngisebenzisana naye ubaba Mahlaku sizonethulela ke namhlanje ukuthi obani ama guest ethu akhona la Deputy Minister vele siyamazi sonke ngithi awe machita awe machita awe akangizoma flight lapho akhona amantombazana siyabonga sizonethulela ke ukuthi yobani ihambele zethe khona namhlanje sinobaba wethu mayor ubaba wethu district mayor kade siyamukela la simbonila ngithi Yebo baba wethu Dr. Ngubane bese siphinda siba no umama wethu khona ohleli ngale duze ka deputy minister umama uNandi Mayathula Khoza o chairperson ye Central Drug Authority obuya le ePitoli nangu Mam Nandi. Welcome Mam Nandi. Awe Mam Nandi awe. Yes, bese siphinda ngale duze ka Mam Nandi siba no speaker wethu wasemajuba. Awe speaker awe. Etha. Bese siphinda siba nabavakashi bethu ke from SANPUD sibe no Shaun Shelly. Awe Shaun awe. Siphinde sibe no Professor Monique Max. Awe Monique awe. Etha Monique awe. Siphinde sibe nolungelo cele okhona futhi phakathi kwethu nangephakamisa isandla laphambili ake simshayela amaflate majita. Siphinde futhi sibe noSiya Khadebe nangu Siya amaflate lapho. Ngiyabonga program director. Hey cha! Cha! Hey cha! Cha! Kulo gorilla, yumosa. Kulo gorilla, yumosa. Hey cha! Cha! Hey cha! Cha!
It is not a coincidence that we are here today. It is not by grace of the Creator only that we are gathered here today. Kodwa manje kunendaba la 16 of June of 1976 where young people stood up against the Africans as a weak apartheid regime. But abantu abasha no. Kuyashintsha manje. Basukuma abantu abasha bathi kuyashintsha manje. Hayibo guys. Fanele kusukume thina manje sithi kuyashintsha manje. Kade kuthiwa sibonge ukwazi ama guests cela shaya izandla. But bashade in community of property. Deputy Minister. Khona umfo ngapha. Igama lakhe uSipho. Khona usister ongapha. Igama lakhe uSindi. Ba in community of property kunengane enhle ekuthulu lonke wozani nizobingelela umphathi. Couple lena, they are in love, they have a family. Hayi ngitheni ngifuna ukuthi akhungwe umntwana mina nginayo imali. Sonela. Nakhunga umntwana. Hayibo ingane ayizi sole ibusiso nangugogo. Nangugogo. Ngose ningibiza la ekhoneni ukuthi awu manje awusafaka okungani. Elilonke.
Unjani?
Ngiyaphila.
Awu semsafela unqede ukuthi uzabe uphilisa ingane yakho.
Ngoba manje angitholi ngisho izandla. Cha ngicela.
So I've been walking around and saying just greeting and knowing. Okay, sibashayeleni izandla. Sizosukumisa uDeputy Minister. Sithi leadership. Na guys. Hawu ngeke. Lutho. Hayibo. Lungisa lapho. Leadership.
Aware. My people. Mara ngiyathembakala ne? Ngiyathembakala right? Akithi savumelana nge3 zaka March ukuthi siyohlangana la. Siyondlula kulvathi, car wash our body and arrive here Now on says he. Sawona me. Sawona speaker. Hi, Mamti. Hello. Hey, Shaun. Hi, Prof. Awe SANPUD. Yeah, so Masha gents. We promised that we are going to meet today. For this time we come into a hotel. So we are here. Sila. Yeah, Sila. Nathi siyozwa ukuthi solo basi hey black rock nathi sifuna ukuyibona le black rock phakathi angithi so now ngifuna ngizwenza kanje ngizocela uspeaker no mayor no mamthi bathi ukuthatha izitulo bayabona lapha into zabelungu eish siweze sibuyele eLondon sisayihlanganisa. So ngenza kanje siyocala sihlale usilence yabona uthi kuyi-internalize le ngoma ne ubuke ne video ne ngoba umlayezo wami ke lo. So sound, can we have Bambelela please? Can we start ngicela internalize it.
Have fun, right side of the law. Me, I've known a few thugs, and the law got them all. Utankulu got killed, Ulumkile had skills, till they got his ass shot, and the Kwame got nabbed. It's kinda sad how I cannot even drink much, cause I'm still traumatized by my alcoholic dad. Who still gets affected? I know I do. Tested. Half the youth doing drugs like they got a death wish. Death wish. Take a moment to reflect on how you live the life you're blessed with. If your life is a mess, everything is gonna be okay. And even if it's not, tell yourself that everything is gonna be okay.
Babelele, legesela, kusonga, koza kanya na guwende. Ambelela, 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 ambelela.
Your fingers got powers like triggers. Think about that next time you're on Twitter, next time you deliver another killer blow to somebody's confidence and get rid of all their inner strength for whatever that they haven't done yet. Don't kill the dreams of about chasing success. Do yours. Nagidabazako, do it to your best. Do yours. Everybody got it. You ain't gotta stress. I know it gets hard. And when it does, say your prayers and know that he's God. But when you haven't got a job or a plot to get to the top, but don't ever stop. If your life is a mess, everything is gonna be okay. And even if it's not, tell yourself that everything is gonna be okay.
Leli nameva kodwa kuzodlula Babelela bekezela kuzolunga kuzokhanya nakuwe ngenyimenge Hey babelela bekezela kuzolunga kuzokhanya nakuwe ngibambelela ambelela 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 ambelela.
If your life is a mess, everything is gonna be okay. And even if it's not, tell yourself that everything is gonna be okay.
Kodwa kuzondlula ngithi bambelela bekezela kuzolunga kuzokhanya nakuye ngenye imini angithi so namhlanje sifuna ukuthi bambelela bekezela kuzolunga nakuwe ngelinye ilanga kuzokhanya. Abantu abasha ke ingoma bayenzela social development esisebenzisa kwi program yethu yakaChomi for 10 to 14-year-olds and nabo bebalapho bayibhema nabo inyawo niyabona bebalani khona nawo kodwa bayema bakhumbula ukuthi yabona indlela inemeva angithi kodwa uma ubambelela nje ubekezele kuzolunga nakuwe kuzokhanya ngenye imini kodwa uma ungafuni ukubambelela phela nikhumbule ukuthi indlela yethu yokuthi siphume kuma drugs ku easy kungena ngithi bafowethu angithi ladies uyangena but ukuphuma is another story, a different one. So before ngizokhuluma kakhulu futhi ngicela sibukele Mayor, we always talk about what are the things that we want to do. Mina, I'm just going to be very short namhlanje. It's Shaun and Prophet's Day today, and the two, Mina, I'm just here. So before I talk too much, I keep explaining these things, Shaun. We want to welcome Umamnandi as our new chairperson with Central Drug Authority, and thank you for joining us. For ukuthi ube khona mama uzoyizwela ithi uma ngabe so uhola le agenda ube uke wabanethuba lokukhuluma nabantu nabanikazi so that uma ngabe singayenzi kahle ka DST uyakhona ukuthi cha kodwa I mean mawubuka uSindi manje Sindi nengani angeke akwazi mafuna kuya ku rehab akwazi ukumhlukanisa nengane yakhe angithi zethu because uyacela ufuna kuya ku rehab. But what must she do with the child? Because social development uzomtshela ukuthi hayi awukwazi ukuhamba nengane. But ufuna kuya rehab kumele ahambile nengane yakhe. Ukuthi uhlala estradeni nengane but now she wants to be a mother. But uma sekafikile seka inject ama drugs, hey, that is a long journey to come back. Uyabona Sindi? Kodwa ngiyakuthembisa sithandwa siyenza lento. So besila sibekezela soyilungisa le ndaba. So I want to give leadership an idea of what are some of the things we want to establish Amajuba. Can I get the video ready? Because amanyama concepts, they become very difficult. Umangabe uwachaza Mayor. But it helps when nathi esila in the room. Ngizocela sibukele le video ngoba namhlanje angifuni ukukhuluma kakhulu. Ngifuna ukuthi ngizodedela umama ngizodedela boShaun ngoba yibona abaphathi behlelo. But I want you ukuthi nibone ukuthi uncedo likhona, there is help. And as a district champion yaseMajuba, Prof runs a very successful clinic eThekwini in Durban. Ukuthi sizwisisa makuthiwa harm reduction sikhuluma ngani. So we're gonna watch a video of how abantu bathola uncedo, but this one is the Cape Town one. So that umeya mangithi, can I please have a building? Yaga Maspala. He has an idea of what must happen in that. In these clinics esifuna roller out. Because you have Cape Town, you have Belhaven, which is another success story. And now we want the next success story to come to Amajuba. And now we want ukuthi nibone nani. As I always say, I'm an addict in waiting. Because I believe nobody wakes up and plan. Something happens empilweni yakho. Khona into enzakalayo angithi. So angikwazi ukunjaja guys. And futhi mina I defend you. Ngoba something ikona. I don't know kusasa I can snap nami and find a coping mechanism ukuthi. So I always say it just doesn't happen. So asibukeni abake bathola uncedo bese siba nethemba. Ngoba into efana naleni izoyibuka sizoyizama nathi la eMajuba. Siyezwana guys. La nizokwazi ukuthola uncedo khona. So are you ready for us? Aha, asibukeleni ke.
Once you're homeless and you see you grew up on the streets, you see things that's not right. You need help, but there's no help.
I got assaulted by the neighborhood watch about last week. They damaged the right side of my brain. I got a fit the day after that.
The most challenge that I'm facing is how people treat us, especially we women that are using drugs, is that the stigma that we get from our communities.
And it was very hard also seeing my child in the street. If I've got 10 rand, I throw 10 rand on the street so we come running. In the taxi, they were asking why. I told them it's my son. It was very, very painful for me.
I was on and off the streets in shelters almost 30 years.
As people use drugs, we are marginalized a lot of the time because of what we choose to put in our bodies.
During the 2016 year, we had tests again. What happened is they told me I'm duly infected. I've got hepatitis C and HIV.
People who come from very vulnerable population groupings could be considered as denizens. They don't have full citizenship in this country. You know, they don't have full access to healthcare services because they're not seen as eligible almost for the rights that other people have.
And I think we have to talk about the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is probably stigma.
So the reality at the moment in 2020 is that we have a few harm reduction programs that include opioid substitution therapy, they include needle syringe services, and to some degree include some hepatitis screening and testing, but they're only in very few major metropolitan areas. And even in those cities where we do have those services, there's great further room for integration, and all of them have concerns to threats of sustainability.
Substance users did not have access to the services that we are providing. The only thing they knew was rehab. And the success rate, especially when it comes to heroin, was very low. We actually give all the information and they decide, they set their own goals, and it's our job to help them reach those goals.
What I normally do on a daily basis when I come out in the field giving out needles, the needle syringe program, and I also do behavior change interventions. When we normally give out the needles, we'd normally tell people about safer injecting.
The harm reduction program is is so important. It helps us a lot not to spread HIV and hepatitis.
I would say my health is important. You know, I've come across so many risky challenges, especially with needles. I know that each and every fix I get, I must use a new needle.
But for some people, it's like we're encouraging people to spike up. They got the wrong mindset around that clean needles. And the reason TB HIV is giving that clean needle is try to stop spreading HC, AIDS. There's a lot of things that goes with that clean needle.
I would say some years ago, people were not aware that there are actually ways of dealing with substance use. There was really a despondency.
As there was no awareness on Hep C, and then that's when I started to worry about everything until recently.
Kuketsi for me is quite inspiring in the way that he's persisted in educating even before we had access to treatment.
It started in January, and then I was patient 0. I'm the first patient in the project.
I believe that a positive outcome for him will really be a new chapter in his life.
Being treated with hepatitis C and being cleared of it has given me just so much hope. Absolutely. So much hope in life.
I think for someone like Jennifer, what is important is that one doesn't see this through the lens of just some sort of a medical model. It's a treatment, harm reduction, and social support combination.
And what makes me proud of Jenny is she's in the cleanup. She's earning a lot of money, but from that money, she uses it wisely. She's paying us shelter fees.
I've overcome all these challenges. I've overcome living on the streets. I got myself off the streets. I found myself a job. I started running again. I overcame the HIV threat. Now finally I'm going to overcome the Hep C threat. There is nothing that I cannot do.
My dream is to see more centres like this. One on every corner.
Because it's working. And I am a product to show that it does work.
I believe we are sitting at a juncture in South Africa, and unless you actually realize that if you don't climb in now, the longer you sit on your hands and do nothing, it only becomes a bigger problem. We learned the hard way with HIV.
I think OST or harm reduction services must be part of the essential list of medicines so that we can get cheaper methadone.
You know, if we're wanting to create a space of less harm for people who use drugs, it's really in the sort of space of ideology that we need to be working. Then we get a critical shift in understanding who people who use drugs are. And so caring means understanding the humanity of people who we've kicked aside onto the streets and into the prisons.
We know what the problems are, and we have the solutions to start overcoming these challenges. What we need is societal support and political action now.
All right, so mangithi bambelela ngithi so that nawe uzokwazi ukuthi uthole usizo. Asihlangani for ukuhlangana. Sihlangana ngoba sifuna kuphana usizo. So mina saxoxa a lot nge3 zaka March. So khona manje ngizothi sifuna kwenza sure ukuthi manisuka la launcha a South African network for people who use drugs. So that sizokwazi ukuthi si network, but sizokwazi ukuthi niyakhona kuyikhulumela uma ngabe kunama decision azo affecta impilo zenu. Ngoba ukuthi wazithola usebenzisa ama drugs akukwenzi less of a person. Usase umuntu uqala, niyabona? And kusamele ubuzwe uzichaze so that uzotholwa uncedo all right. So sizothi nathi la Amajuba sibe nayo harm reduction program. Sizoenza sure ukuthi bakhona. And sizoenza sure ukuthi iya function. It's a pity, Shaun, I was going to have a soccer match between the police and my addicts here. But now, you know, the president's announcement took away my game. Mara, we are still going to play, ne? Actually, we promised each other. We must win the match. So we see whether the police can, we must be the winners, guys. So October, we're having our match with the police. So, Angit, guys, you promised me how. Nangtambisa what we're gonna play. You promised. So we're gonna play our game with the police. Yeah, bo. Good. So I'm gonna give over to Mam Nandi. Ozozisho ngicela kusho ukuthi mina ngahlangana no Mam Nandi ngo1996. Ngiyeza kudala kanjani? 25 years ago. Awukhansela eJoburg mina ngisebenza kwi-organization yabantu aba-disabled. Wafike officeini lami azobuza ukuthi anganceda kanjani abantu aba-disabled sisebenzisane simguide njengekhansela ukuthi abantu abakhubazekile bangancedakala kanjani. So uyabona ukuthi umama ozwenza shona athi senza kahle ka DSD wabuya waba yonke into okugcina manje nje beka uMEC waka social development eGauteng. So le indaba lezi zenu naye uye waba nethuba lokuthi adile nani yabona. So manje because uyena mphathi ozwenza sure ukuthi lezi zinto siyazenza. So sibonga ukuthi ukhonile kusijoina awuze ngithi umama osebenzayo, umama ophushayo, uyaphusha, and umama okhuthela okhathalela abantu kakhulu. So mina ke awuze ngithi azange ngihambe ngiyoyifuna ikhansela ifune mina. Yazela yathi sila asifuna ukushiya abantu abakhubazekile ngaphandle. Sifuna ukuthi sisebenze. That was the first time 1996 February. Ngize ngikhumbula kahle nelanga lakhona, ngize ngiyakhumbula ukuthi bengigqokeni brukeli brown ne top cream white. Nganitshela ukuthi yena ukubonisa ukuthi umuntu onothando futhi othanda abantu ozwisisa ukuthi akumele sishiye abantu ngemuva futhi akumele sibathathele inqubo. So angimukele umam Mayethula Khoza he first official engagement yakhe le ba inaugurate manje nje uyafika. So he first official business yakhe as the newly appointed chairperson of the Central Drug Authority. Asimvumele simmukele ngehlombe. You are welcome, madam, to our world.
And Ketanga. Ship. Leadership. Ship. Mzaibam. Sanbonan. Awe machimbos awe. Awe my girls awe. My girls are wes. Hi girls, akona my girls. I guess siyabonga kakhulu. Ngithanda ukunibingelela nonke enikhona namhlanje sithi heita KwaZulu-Natal heita. Heita Amajuba heita. Siyabonga kakhulu. Sibonge kumama wethu mncane yena kodwa sithi umama ngoba usiphethe angithi. Umama Hendrietta Bogopane-Zulu uqinisile makesho ukuthi hayi dala sigudla mina naye. Ngizachaza nje futhi later on. But ngisho ukuthi siphethe umama la ogijimayo. Niyambona futhi ukuthi akafaka amakwayikwayi ufaka ini amateki. Sifunde kuye ukuthi masisebenze emphakathini sihamba ngeflat shoe. Angeke usibone sigqoka amakwayikwayi ngoba sigqoka amakwayikwayi ngeke sikwazi ukusebenza ngithi. Ngibingelele umeya wethu osamukele kahle la ekhaya. Udokotela ngizobiza kahle isibongo sakhe udokotela ngubane sibonge baba ukuthi unathi la Amajuba ngoba phela uma ungekho meya asikwazi ukwenza umsebenzi ngendlela efanele sizizwa singekho welcome kodwa namhlanje sizizwa si welcome siyabonga kakhulu ukusamukela. Ngibonge ngibingelele kumama uSpeaker usisiphumzile Mgcina naye othe makeze ke abe nathi namhlanje. Etha Speaker etha. Sibonge kini nonke bakwethu iSANPUD ikhona la namhlanje. Ubut Shaun etha But Shaun etha. No Professor Monique etha. But okubalulekile ke namhlanje bakwethu sithanda ukunibonga nonke nini enikhona majimbos namantombazana ngithi. Ngiyabona ukuthi hey nibancane youth. Futhi youth month angithi. Tina last phuma khona ke sino minister sithi roar young lions roar. Roar young lions roar. Awuzwe ke sasikusho sisaseno ngeke ngisho igama lakhe. Osekasishile manje. Umntana ethu kodwa siyamthanda. So ngiyanibingelela nonke ke bantwana bethu ukuba khona kwenu la sizokwazi ukuthi sisebenzisane. Nama officials e social development siyawabingelela siyawabonga umsebenzi wabo omuhle abawenzayo. Uprogram director Vakerne. Mara ngizwanga ukuthi usisibani. Ngizomcela ukuthi ngelinye ilanga ayelela ngibuya khona ngoba uvakere uvigilant ne. Viva program director viva. Siyabonga kakhulu. Ngibonga nokuthi program director uqale ngokuthi wenze dialogue. Thina ke siyesithanda ukuthi phambi kokuthi sikhulume nabantu sizwe ukuthi abantu bathini. Honorable Minister ngiyabonga kakhulu ukuthi ngizwile ukuthi uwe othe masiqale ngedialogue sizwe ukuthi ulusha luthini ngale nkinga esibhekene nayo. So ngithanda ukunibonga nonke abantu abasha sinizwile eqale noma ngabe ngifike a little bit late kodwa bengibanje kunalento ebizwa iholding room engayithanda. Kodwa ngithe mangifika la ngo8 o'clock but hayi Chewe CDA sicela ukusa ku holding room cishe ngala kodwa ngathi ithi ngibamba umthetho ngoba ngimusha. Ngimusha I'm new from the box chairperson omusha we CDA. So siyabonga sizwile inkinga enibhekene nazo lutsha ukuthi abaningi benu ngempela bayasebenzisa izidakamizwa futhi nifuna ukuyeka ngithi. Bangakho abafuna ukuyeka sike sinibone. Asibashayeleni izandla. Sizwile ukuthi ekuyekeni kwenu nithi anikwazi ukuyeka bese ningenzi lutho ngithi. Nithi nifuna imisebenzi. Bangakho abafuna imisebenzi. Nibaningi. Ushilo nomeya la wathu ningamsabi. I'm sure no speaker would have said the same thing. Ukuthi ke le ndaba yemisebenzi umeya ukhona, uspeaker ukhona, amakhansela akhona, baneyinhlelo ezikhona bazokwazi ukuthi banenzeni bani include angithi. ISANPUD angithi khuluma nge-inclusivity ukuthi akukho esizokwenza ngaphandle kwenu. Nothing for you without you angithi. Yes nangumeya ke uzicommittee futhi ke mina meya uma ngizwe inkokheli ikhuluma ithi izokwenza ukuthile ngiyakulandelela. Ngiyobe ngikhokhelwa uDM silandelele sibone ukuthi ngempela ama leaders wethu ala Amajuba futhi ngiyawathemba. Ngisebenzile nawo kakhulu azokwenza lokhu abakuthembisile ke ukuthi bakwenze. Nathi sizoba supporta ngoba umsebenzi wethu suwe CDA ukuthi sisupporte omeya sisupport ospeaker sisupport ama councillors nawo futhi azokwazi ukuthi asupporte lokho esikubiza ama local drug action committee niyazwela ngawa ngithi. Okuhle ukuthi ke uminister udeputy minister uzoyilauncha I-committee yala Amajuba entambama. Okwamanje kusena uminister ulontsha iKwaZulu-Natal SANPUD angithi. Ngicela ukuthi nizishaleni izandla ngoba ni number 1. After kulontshe i-national, you are number 1. You are setting the trend la eKwaZulu-Natal. Thina sibuye eGauteng sesijwayele ukuthi zonke izinto siqala eGauteng. Kodwa sijikile izinto angithi. Sesiqala kuphi? eKwaZulu-Natal. Ziqala nala Amajuba futhi. So siyakubonga kakhulu lokho. So Minister, on behalf of the Central Drug Authority entsha sina 1 week kuphela siqokwe uMinister no Deputy Minister. Only 1 week. Ngithe uMinister make ngi-invite uDeputy engathuthumela ngathi enkosi yami. Siqala nje asikabi nayo ni-induction, asikabi nayo orientation. Sitshelwe si-empowerish ukuthi kahlehle senzani. Kodwa ke uyazi mawuqokiwe uyinkokheli awulindi uye ulalele abantu ukuthi bathina ngithi. Ngiyajabula namhlanje ukuthi nginilalele futhi nginizwile ukuthi nithini kodwa siyesibheke yebo emgcini sihlalo siyaguglisha phela ufuna ukuthola i-annual report ye-CDA uthola i-annual report ye-social development ithini uzokwazi ukuthi usebenze ngendlela efanele. So siyabonga Minister, siyazi futhi ukuthi uwe oququzele abantu abasebenzisa isidakamizwa ukuthi bazi organize. Niyakwazi lokho? Was it in 2016-17, Minister? Long?
Shaun, when did we start?
2016 in Vienna.
Yes.
Yes. 2016.
Yes. Wakhuluma uDeputy Minister wathi siyafuna ukusebenzisana nabantu abasebenzisa isidakamizwa. Kodwa manje sisebenza nabo one by one. You understand? Wathi uDeputy Minister ngicela ukuthi nizi organize. Yingako namhlanje ngifuna ukcongratulate uShaun no Professor Monique ukuthi baye balalela uDeputy Minister ngempela bayiforma iSANPUD base bayayiregister as a non-profit organization lapha ehhovisi le-social development. Ngicela sibahalalisele. Halala SANPUD, halala. Sizwile ke SANPUD ukuthi zikhona izinto enfuna ukuzijika. You have spoken to us, you have spoken to social development, you've spoken to CDA in the past, and you wanted to change a few things. Yingako i-social development isebenzisana ne-CDA iye yathi uma ibheka uhlelo kunoluhlelo oluhle olukhulu lwe-social development ne-CDA esilibiza i-National Drug Master Plan. Kusikuthi uMzansi Afrika unohlelo. Makuthiwa where is your plan? Hayi thina siyakwazi ukuyikhipha iplan nayi iplan yethu. Ibikhona iplan yakudala sikukhona iplan entsha eqale ngo-2019 izophela ngo-2024. So sizwile iSANPUD la ukuthi umsebenzi obalulekile uma siwenza siwu-CDA ne-social development kukhona izinto ofuneke sizibheke. Oqala kuthiwa masibheke udaba lwe-human rights. Angithi ngoba ninamalungelo angithi. Kuthiwa sibheke udaba lalama myths. Sinokusho mosi abantu ngoba ngithi si-ignorant esikhathini esiningi. Sizikhulumela izinto eziningi abantu abadla izidakamizwa. Singababuzi ukuthi bona bafila kanjani, benzani. So we must dismantle the myths. Okunye futhi ukuthi ke fanele si-understand si-social development, si-CDA, si-inkokheli, o-mayor, no-speaker, nama-councillor, si-understande udaba labantu abadla isidakamizwa, ukuthi ke bazisebenziselani, yingani bezisebenzisa, nokuthi ke yikuphi ke abakudingayo. So ke nokuthi ke siyazi mosukuthi akufunekanga ukhona okhulumile la uma sibukela i-video ukuthi sinjudge. Angithi si-society we are quick at judging people. So ke iSANPUD ithi ke singanjudge sonke siyabantu siyafana ngithi we are equal before the law. Angithi siyakwazi lokho. Futhi constitution yethu ithi akukho esifuneke sikwenze ngaphandle kwabantu abadinga usizo. Angithi yingako ke namhlanje senza lo msebenzi ngoba siyasikhathazekile si-social development si-CDA ukuthi ngempela uma sidla le idakamizwa siyagula ngithi. Kuphazamisa impilo yethu ekwesinye isikhathi mhlambe ngoba siyashare lezi zinto, share ama needles angithi. sishara konje into yini ingidi ne umunye uyayibamba lengidi ayibheme ayinikeze umuntu abambe bra nalo bra naye bese kayayi bathini scave ne deputy minister uyazazi lezi zinto deputy minister dale gudla ne so ke thina sisikhathazekile ke ngaloko ukuthi ke kuba nalezifo eziningi ze HIV siyathelelana zama sexual transmitted diseases siyathelelana nezinye nje eziningi kakhulukazi hepatitis nazi hepatitis nayo masiloko sishare lama needles sibhemisana sisikeyifisana siyazithola lezifo siyazithola so ke sithi ke sisebenzisana sonke ngoba kuke sizokwenza ngaphandle kwenu ukuthi ke si reduce le harm ekhuluma ngayo deputy minister iham ehama nina ni abasebenzisi balama drugs ihama futhi ama families angithi ukhona umunye bekathi la mina ukuthi ngithole le drug le ngiyakhanga ngivuka ekseni ingiqala la ifamily ngiyatshontsha in fact thini nginixoxela nginobhuti ne who's younger than me but seka Shaun yena ke ebesiphuzela utshwala kakhulu ebesiphuzela utshwala asena bazali sihlala sodwa yimi ke sengumama lapha ekhaya hayi ziyaphela izitsha la ekhaya every day mangithi ngiyabheka kuphela izitsha uyazi abomama abagcina izitsha lapha kumakhabeti ezinhle ne abo dinner set nice glasses nice cutlery besekhona ekhaya zaphela ezithengisa ngoba efuna ukuthi akwazi ukuthenga utshwala ehamba ke i-treatment esikhathini esiningi inhlanhla embi washona azange asaphila ushone nje ena 54 futhi ke engicela ukunazisa ukuthi ubhuti wami naye because of lezinto waba nayo HIV angithi ngoba phela maso ubhemile kunzima ukuthi uzinakekela ngithi but wa complicate ngisho ukuthi ke the point I'm trying to make ukuthi angiboni ukuthi there's even one household umuzi la kungekho khona umuntu odla isidakamizwa hayi futhi ngoba bethanda kungoba nifuna ukucope angithi kungoba nifuna ukucope so le National Drug Master Plan angeke ngikhulume ngama statistics engakusho nje ukuthi ke ukusetshenziswa kwesidakamizwa akusuyinto yenzeka la eSouth Africa kuphela ngithi siyakwazi lokho into yenzeka emhlabeni wonke so uma siyalalela i-report yomhlaba ithi ke kuna about 289 million yabantu abasebenzisa isidakamizwa sibaningi nala South Africa sikhona sibaningi but angeke ngiloko ngikhuluma ngama numbers ngama statistics sokubalekile ukuthi sinilalele nokuthi ikuphi ke esizokwenza CCDA esikwaziyo futhi ukuthi ke sidla idakamizwa ngoba kungenamsebenzi eSouth Africa siyaza ngithi unemployment rate sehamba kuphi manje sesihamba kuphi unemployment rate eSouth Africa 40% ne seyikhuphukile sibala nalabantu khona abasehleli nje bangasayifuni imisebenzi ngoba kunini beyifuna abayitholi so because of that masifuna ukucopa bese siyala kuzidakamizwa ngoba kwesikhashana siba sifila kahle inkinga zikho but ekuhambeni kwesikhathi ziyabuya le inkinga that's why kufanele siphinde sibuyele futhi siyobhema isidakamizwa so ke kunemisebenzi eminingi eyenzwa uhulumeni ukuze sisebenzisane nani but ngifuna ukusho ukuthi siyesashintsha izinto ne ngoba ngiyakhumbula nami from 1994 ngiqale ngo1994-95 bengumeya waseSoweto ngisebenza nabantu base Eldorado Park nayazi Eldorado Park yes hayi ziyadliwa lapha idakamizwa sisebenza nabantu base Soweto nabantu base eMabopane eSoshanguve eWinterfeld neindawo eziningi hayi besihamba man nasedrobheni sibathola abantu abasha balele lapha edrobheni izindlu zabo lezo angithi sisebenze nabo ke yebo siyabalalela but iqiniso lihle ukuthi besibalalela but singathathi ama opinions wabo siwafake kumthetho nakuma policies angithi so siyashintsha manje sithi zonke izinto enizishoyo la sizosifaka kwimithetho sizosifaka kuma policies sizosifaka kuma programs but into enhle ukuthi Le National Drug Master Plan eyenziwe i-Social Development ne-CDA isizifakile lezi zinto eziningi. Says one. Lezi zinto enikhuluma ngazo the human rights, the evidence-based approaches, ukuthi singenzi nje ukudlulisa isikhathi simitha ama-targets. No, it's no longer about that. It's about ukuthi, what are the studies saying? Sikwazi ukuthi ke senze umsebenzi ofanele. Angifuni ke ukuthatha isikhathi esiningi ngoba ngiyazi ukuthi ulutsha alithandi izinkulumo ezinde kakhulu, but angisho nje ukuthi ke imisebenzi esiyenzayo siqala la ukuthi si reduce harm, si reduce demand. Sesifocusa ku reduce harm ngoba manje eqaleni besifocusa ku reduce i-supply. Sahluleka. So okubalekile ukuthi ke manje si reduce harm ngokuthi si prevente ukuthi kunama programs akhona emphakathini, sikhuluma nolusha, siya ezikolweni, bekunale program ebizwa kimoja, ngazomisa sekhona, ngazoma niyayazini. Yes, yilabo abantu abasha nabo ebebedlida kamizwa kodwa sebethola treatment, bakhuluma nabanye abantu abasha ukuze bancedakale, kube ne-early intervention so that at the onset ukuthi nami ngihalela ukuyibhema lenyawupe iwunga ingidi, kube khona abantu abathi emakancane kukhona okuhle ongakwenza emphakathini kunokuthi ubheme inyawupe. Early intervention ebese kuba khona treatment. Angisho nokuthi ke la eMzansi Afrika sekunama treatment centers, ama health centers aranwa i-government awu-9. Besikade sina 8. Recently namkhumbula upresident yowalontsha yase Free State. Lapho ningakwazi ukuya khona, ningabhadali, niye mahala, nithole treatment. But esikushoyo namhlanje ukuthi akupheleli la ku treatment. Funeka futhi i-aftercare. Angithi asikwazi ukuthi hayi siyajabula abantu abasha ba-100 bayile batreatiwe barat. Uma bebuyela la bebuya khona ama-drug lords asesekhona ngithi benza imali ngithi ngani. So funeke nibuyele, but siyazi ukuthi ukurelapsa it's a normal process, ne? Uma urelapsa ungathi hey ngi-weak. No, you are not weak. It's a normal process. Okubalekile ukuthi uthathe futhi isinqumo ubuyele, but ekubuyeleni kwakho uthole usizo. You must get the support. Ishili SANPUD ukuthi you need not only treatment, you need the support, but you also need access to services. Angithi sizwana. Ama services niwadingayo imaphi? Azange ngizwe kahle masenze dialogue. Nidinga ama services ezempilo angithi health. Bakhona abadinga izindlu. Yes. Umeya ukhulume nge-sports, recreation, arts and culture ngithi. But akusizinto lezi thina sizodecide izinto ekufanele zishiwo yini ne? Yes. So ke i-aftercare program ibalulekile kakhulu ne-reintegration back into the community. So that manibuye emphakathini senitreatiwe, mhlambe seke nizamile umeya ngemisebenzi, imiphakathi kwazi ukuthi ini welcome ne? Yes. So ke ngiyabonga kakhulu, ngiyanibona ukuthi hayi nizwile. Futhi kokubalekile ngishilo ukuthi mina nami ngizwile earlier on izinto enizishilo. Sithanda ukubonga futhi iSANPUD ngemisebenzi eyenzayo, supports that to give people who are using drugs. Sihalalisele futhi KwaZulu-Natal kakhulu Amajuba ngokuthi ke hayi nani seninayo Provincial Chapter. Sihalalisele abantu abasha later on ukuthi uminister uzobe futhi eformer is it district or provincial local drug action committee lapho nje. Yes. Siyathembisa ke thina Central Drug Authority ukuthi sizosebenza nani. Siyezwana. Uma ningasiboni bakhona umayor, bakhona speaker ukuthi ke sisebenzisane nani sikwazi ukuthi si reduce le harm esikhuluma ngayo. Ngiyabonga kakhulu nisekhona. Halala KZN halala. Halala Amajuba halala. Ngiyabonga.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if you missed the storyline between the lines, together we can do more. If you've missed the storyline and the message today, it is actually in recognizing that we do have a drug problem. It's international It's national, it's provincial, it is in this district of Amajuba. It is in us. We are saying sometimes it becomes difficult to quit. Actually, it is difficult, especially if you're already addicted. And today we're saying we want to give support to you as you are right now. As Lindanga uba ube ngcono, we're not waiting for you to be clean before government can say asebenzeni. As uhulumeni, we are here and saying we want to work with you, sifuna ukuba nawe, and show you love and support now as you are. Iyezwakala inkonzo. Can you say amen bazalwane? Can you say hallelujah? Uthi uhulumende wethu namhlanje sinjena sisebenzisa idakamizwa, kukhona kufanele sikwazi ukuthi sinakekela kanjani ukuthi improve isimo sethu. Kukhona izifo edlulayo sithi sabhizi nje siyajova dokotela ayilo mjovo lo lapha yana enqeni. Asijovi ke ngapha enqeni. Sijova ngapha nje yabona. Futhi na ngoba inyama ngathi iningi kungconywana. Sisasebenza idakamizwa sisajova. Ikhona yini izinto esingazenza ukuthi siyinakekele still whilst we are using drugs? Hulman is not waiting for you to be perfect. Right now, right here. If you can please assist me, because I'm going to hand over the program now to SANPUD. They are the official partners for the day. And we wish to hear direct from the horse's mouth. Please help me welcome brother Shaun Shelly with a big round of applause.
I actually had a dream last night, and in my dream I stood up and I spoke perfect Zulu. I wish. I'm embarrassed. But I understand a lot of the passion that I see before me today. In 2016, something very fateful happened. In Vienna, which is far away, I met the deputy minister. I plucked up all my courage and I went over to her and I spoke to her. And then in 2018, we met again in Amsterdam. What was I doing in these places? I was taking the voice of people who use drugs in South Africa into spaces where people who use drugs are never allowed. But I was the spy in the house because I am a person who uses drugs. And so I use the wrong impressions that people have about me to take your voices to places where people won't listen to them. And that's why I started SANPUD, because I wanted to take the message of your voice to places where people weren't prepared to listen to you. And my time doing that is nearly over because of the deputy minister. Because, nobody else listened. Nobody else said, nothing for us without us. Nobody else was saying support, don't punish. Nobody else was talking the language of let's reduce harm. Everybody was talking about addicts who were thieves, who were useless, who couldn't do this, who couldn't do that, who were just a problem. But we all have a skill in maintaining a drug habit. It takes focus. It takes determination. It takes planning. It takes most of your day. It's like a job. So we've got all the skills, you just need to focus on something else. The skills are there already. Nobody needs to change who they are as a person to be accepted. All you need is to find the right thing to focus on. And so Over the last 5 years, I've seen the Deputy Minister work really hard to get out a national drug master plan that includes the things that are essential. I have been so privileged to meet the new chair of the Central Drug Authority today, because for the first time I'm beginning to feel a confidence that our policies will match our constitution. I don't have any rhythm. I can't sing. I can't dance. I feel embarrassed to shout out loud. But when it comes to representing you, I will do whatever I can to make your voice heard everywhere. Two years ago at the AIDS conference, I said that if you're calling yourself an AIDS activist and you do not support people who use drugs, you're not an AIDS activist. We cannot achieve the goals without you. And so I want to say to you, don't wait until you've stopped using drugs to make a change in the person you are. Make the change now, whatever small change that is. Because everybody uses drugs in some way or another. Some of us just don't have the right place to put our skills. What the Deputy Minister didn't know when she met me was that a few years before that I'd been homeless on the streets in Cape Town. And I'm not saying my story is like anybody else's, because I was a very fortunate person. But I went and worked in a place called Lavender Hill in Cape Town. And in Lavender Hill, there's a lot of gang violence, there's a lot of problems, there's a lot of drugs. And I tried to save everybody, and it didn't work. Until we listened to people. We stopped punishing them, we started supporting them, and people are quite capable of saving themselves if you just give them the space and the resources to do that. So my only message to you all today, and I'm not going to say anything more after this, is that SANPUD is here to take your voices further and to actually be made up of you, not me. I'm not the right person. I'm gone in a year's time. I'm here to tell you that one day we will have a South Africa where even people who use drugs are seen as human beings. And I always tell my medical students that I lecture to, I say, you know why I use the term people who use drugs? Because you can just put a full stop after people, because we are just people like everybody else, and we deserve the rights that everybody else has. That's what our Constitution says. So we can stand up, hold our heads high, make changes today, and be better people today, and part of a community that isn't seen as bad, but is seen as people. So thank you for being here today. This is an absolute privilege to me. But most of all, I want to thank you, Deputy Minister, who's walked a long path with me over 6 years and given me hope that one day we will all be seen as human. Thank you.
No, man, let's hear from the prof. Why not?
I think many of us here in the front come from what we can call the toy generation. And so it's very good to be back and part of the toy generation. I want to first take off my mask that is stuck in my earring. But I wanted to just observe all protocols and just to say I greet and I salute the Deputy Minister, the Mayor, the Chair of the CDA and the Speaker and all people in this room today for inviting us as SANPUD and as people who are harm reduction activists. There are a couple of things that I just wanted to say before I move on to a little bit more serious stuff. But firstly, KwaZulu-Natal does lead, and that's come up a number of times already this morning. And sitting here today, I realize why KwaZulu-Natal does lead. And that's because KwaZulu-Natal is full of people who have energy, who have vitality, who are welcoming, and who are greeting of strangers. And I think that is something that makes KwaZulu-Natal a very special place. And Newcastle is no exception to that. So thank you for inviting us to Newcastle from Cape Town and from eThekwini. I wanted to just share a few random thoughts before I talk about drug use. And the chairperson of the CDA was talking a few minutes ago about the unemployment rate in South Africa, which is about 40%. But I wanted to just tell you a story about somebody who visited me from a place called Colombia, which is in South America, about 6 years ago. And he also was actually a drug activist. And he said to me, "What is your unemployment rate in South Africa?" And I told him that it was at that time about 36%. Because remember, with COVID, our unemployment has gone up even more. And he said to me, "If that is your unemployment rate, you do not have a crime problem. If that is your unemployment rate, you do not have a drug problem." Now, the reason for that is really, really interesting. Because what do we expect people to do when there are no jobs, when there are no opportunities, and when education is not leading us into any place that is meaningful? And I think that when people criticize people who use drugs and people who are engaged in minor crimes just to get by, we need to say to them, what do you expect in a country with a 40% unemployment rate and with the highest inequality in the world? What do we expect? It's an important question for us to ask, but it's an even more important question for us to answer, because I don't think we have the answers to that question. It is such a huge, huge problem. That is the problem. Drugs are in some ways a problem, but they are not the problem. Unemployment and inequality are the problem. And so today, the message of all of us here, I think, is to use the word kuluma. Let us speak, let you speak about what your experiences are, and let us have an interaction around that. So I'm hoping that I'm not speaking too much. Many years ago, I think around the same time that I met Shaun, by the way, and Shaun is probably one of the most important people in my life, because Shaun dreamt that he was speaking isiZulu last night. He woke up to the reality that that might not be the case. But the thing about Shaun is that usually when Shaun dreams, that dream becomes a reality. And I like to dream with Shaun, because sometimes Shaun and I dream the same dreams. And one of the biggest dreams that Shaun and I have had together is to say, how can we dream a better place for people who use drugs, who have access to the treatment that you want, not that other people want you to have? So that is our dream. And the more of us who dream that dream together, the greater the possibility that that dream becomes a reality. And that will allow people like Shaun and I to continue sleeping at night and dreaming on. So another person that I met probably at the same time as Shaun was another professor who works in both the Netherlands but also in Australia. His name is Professor Nick Crofts. And he said a very simple sentence to me, which I've never ever forgotten. He said, the more I see drugs, the more I see people. It's not the drugs that are important. It's the people behind the drugs. So start seeing the people and not the drugs. And it's a message that has stuck with me through the entire time that I've been working in the field of harm reduction, which we can explain later on, because it's a term that's taken me many, many years to understand as well. What is it that people like Shaun and myself and the Deputy Minister have dreamed about for people who use drugs for the many years that we have been working together? And the first is that for people who do use drugs, which actually is the majority of people in different ways, that there is dignity for everybody, that we have places of hope, that we know that the future doesn't end in the present. The future is still something that we can work towards. Really important. And how do we start to develop understanding between us? That is critical. So what do we need then when we speak about harm reduction? We need places where people who use drugs feel safe, where they feel they can speak without being judged, where they feel they are able to reconnect with people that are important to them, and where they can choose the help that they need to be able to move forward in their lives like everybody else wants to do. There's no difference between people who use drugs and other people. We are people that want to move forward in our lives. Shaun spoke about how often there are pictures that are created of people who use drugs that are very negative. But I wanted to tell you what I've learned from people who use drugs over the many years that I've been working in this field. The one thing that I've learned from people who use drugs is how to survive. People who use drugs know how to survive the most difficult circumstances, circumstances that many other people have given up on. And so it may sound like a very strange thing, but if you want to learn how to survive, ask people who use drugs. They'll give you the answer to that. The other thing that I've learned from people who use drugs is how to feel inside of yourself. And I'll tell you why I say this. There's a misconception that people who use drugs, and in particular the drug that we work most with, which is heroin, nayope, sugars, unga, wunga, doesn't matter what you call it, it's still heroin. The reason that most people who use heroin is because they feel the pain of the world more deeply than anybody else. And the only way to deal with that pain is to use heroin to try to stop feeling the pain. But the pain that you feel is not just your own pain. It's the pain of humanity. It's the pain of seeing other people suffering. The first people that will know if I am not feeling okay, I can go to the university and work and nobody will know. But the minute I go to the harm reduction center, I don't even have to walk through the door and somebody will look at me and say, "Prof, what's wrong? You're not okay today." Because they're able to tune into my emotions so much more quickly than other people are. Don't ever forget that. I'm glad that you agree. I really appreciate that. And the other thing about people who use drugs, when we see people who use drugs, we should be saying, what is the message here? What does it say to us all? It says that there are problems in this world that people have been unable to solve, whether it's ministers or whether it's people that sit in office or whether it's school teachers or whether it's our parents or whether it's doctors that have not been solved properly. And those problems have led people into situations where drugs become the solution. So when we see this, we need to say, what does our conscience tell us? Our conscience tells us that everything is not okay. It is not okay. And for that reason, we need to thank people who use drugs for reminding us all the time that things are not okay. Now, there are two things, and I want to see if I'm right, and so please let me know if I'm right. There are two things that people who use drugs fear more than anything else in the world. And this is important. The one is withdrawal. And the other one is overdose. Tell me if I'm right. Okay. And if we accept that those are the two things that people who use drugs fear the most, those are the two things that we need to help with. We need to help people so that they don't have to go through withdrawal, because it's a terrible, terrible, terrible experience. And the other thing we have to do is to ensure that nobody overdoses. There's not a single drug user that I know who wants to overdose. They don't. You know, people try to be as careful as they can when they use drugs. And if they do overdose, it's usually a mistake. And that's because we do not know what's going into the drugs that we get on the street, because we can't regulate them, because they're illegal, and therefore it's all underground. And that creates a huge problem. And so it's a very scary experience when you don't know what you're buying, and you don't know who you're buying it from, and therefore you don't know what you're putting into your body. So it's a combination of trying to solve a problem, but at the same time feeling afraid of what that's going to look like. And until we understand those fears, we're not going anywhere. So that is a huge message from my side, from my understanding up until now. So what do we need going forward? We need safe places for people who use drugs to talk about themselves and their lives and what they need without feeling embarrassed, without feeling that they've done something wrong, without feeling that they are going to be having to deal with the police, without feeling like they're going to be taken to a place of so-called rehabilitation by force, knowing that it's not going to work. We know that we need to have the right medical attention to prevent overdose, to prevent withdrawals, to allow people to start living a healthy life. And that includes assisting people who use drugs to get onto medication for things like TB, HIV, hepatitis, and any other illnesses which you may have or we may have. And the third thing is to create networks which are about trying to get the rights of people who use drugs on the agenda of local government and of provincial government and of national government. And we need to stop people when they talk about a drug-free world. We need to stop people when they talk about anti-drug forums. Because when you talk about an anti-drug forum, you're talking about anti-everybody here today. What we should be talking about is how do we have forums for people who use drugs that allow people to move forward, not that oppose them. Because we all know, we've all been through that experience where we've been told what you're doing is wrong, what you're doing is bad, you need to change. And where does it land you? In a situation where you can't speak about your life at all and you can't reach for help. And so I hope that today we move forward in this district and therefore bubbling into other parts of KwaZulu-Natal and then into other parts of the country where we can speak proudly about who we are as people across the board and insist on getting the right interventions and support that is required and demanded by you, the people that we are speaking to and about today. Thank you very much.
Before we take the last two speakers, bengifisa ukuthi ke sithi ukuphoza kancane isingisi lesi phinde sing bengifisa isingisi bafethu futhi bengabhema ngayo no ngikhuluma ngenkawuza bafethu mina ngisemsebenzini ngikhuluma ngosikilidi ngisemsebenzini yazi ukuthi uButshon athi itemu alisebenzisayo uthi people who use drugs mehamba laphayana ko United Nations uthi people who use drugs akasho ukuthi drug users akasho ukuthi amaphara thina le sibizwa ngani ngamba sibizwa ngani manje magama amaja ojanke amajanke amahopo uthi people who use drugs and then bese aphinde athi deputy minister athi mothandile inhliziyo yakho mayivumile umoya mawukholile athi bese ufaka full stop emva kwa people hey yasikhuluma isingisi la baba ha ngithi hayibo yazi ukuthi angazi noma nizwa ngalendlela engizwa ngayo yini mina lento ngoba manje uma uthi asingabe sisakubiza ngalama labels esilokhu siwabiza uthi Butshon people sengiyafeyila manje dokotela yazi bengifisa ukuthi ngingene ngizothi ukunciphisa kancane isingisi ngizosho ukuthi sikwi page elilodwa uthi abantu abasebenzisa idakamizwa bese athi mawukhethile uzothi abantu ngoba ngaphambi kokuthi ubheme insangu ngaphambi kokuthi ufake isauce ngaphambi kokuthi vrava room ngaphambi kokuthi ube umuntu osebenzayo noma ungasebenzi ngaphambi kokuthi ube umama noma ube ubaba ngaphambi kokuthi ube intombi ngaphambi kokuthi uqale ube umuntu and imessage engizwayo la ithi from abanye bethu abancane kule room engikulo ngoba ngifuna ukuconfess ukuthi khona enye insanga bafethu khona enye insanga ekuthiwe Amsterdam umuntu akabayo okay ngaphambi kokuthi singene kulaba abangasebenzisi idakamizwa la kule room sithi thina esisebenzisayo siyacela ukuthi nisibuke njengabantu qala bese athi prof prof you are very beautiful prof yes prof you are standing here I'm like hey girl what size shoes do you wear size for each okay no maybe next time prof is so young cabanga so how am I oh no okay no prof is so young and so beautiful uthi prof into ayifunde kakhulu kubantu abasebenzisa idakamizwa ukuthi baphethe kahle abantu abala survival lezi ngizama ukuthi abantu abakwaziyo ukuthi ngempela ngigudla kanjani mase kuthiwa impela kushubile abekho abantu abakwazi ukugudla ulife njengabantu abasebenza idakamizwa ngoba kuphinde kube khona yazi mesikubambile ke mfethu kubambile mfethu lapho mfethu udinga ifix vele uyazi ngizwane ngibheme lapho akukho even 1 rand khona ade ngithethe ngitshela ukuthi ishandisa ishayayo u40 rand iphilisi la khona lapho akukho even 1 rand ukuthi lowo muntu uwenze njani wenzani kodwa bafethu cha asingalimaza abantu cha ilona icrime sizama impela nje sigudleni le kude nayo kukhona ubhuti ekhuluma ekuqaleni ekseni esho ukuthi hayi mina ngiyahamba ngiqoqe izinsimbi ngise scrap yard imali yami ngithenge intashinga yami uthi abantu abakwazi ukusurvive abantu futhi abanemizwa abantu bayitshela ukuthi sibhema ngoba sifuni ukuzwa nanokuthi kuyaphela kanti hey sinayo imizwa ngesinye isikhathi ibamningi kakhulu yikho ke mhlambe uDeputy Minister kunguye oqhuba inhlelo kanje ngoba angithi na kuye kule department ukhona nama social worker ukhona nabantu ekufana ukuthi sinqonqoze ngempela ukuthi okay ngesinye isikhathi ake sibonene ukuthi ukhona yini okunye singakwenza ukuthi sikhophe mhlambe asibize the last two speakers ngicela ukunibiza nobabili nizonke ngabiseza ngaphambili socela ukuthi sibize uBhutlungelo noBhutsiya sibashayile nje izandla ikhulu elihlolo
sanibonani bengithanda ukubingelela iDeputy Minister ngithanda ukubingelela iMayor nosihlalo weKhet nani nonke lana endlini igama lami ngulungelo ngi regional representative yaka SANPUD la KwaZulu-Natal kodwa before ngifike kulesimo sengikusona manje nami ngidla inyawupa eThekwini sithi iwunga iwunga sengibheme almost iminyaka u10 ya nje ingenzisa zonke izinto ngahlala estradini nje ngadutshwa umndeni wami ngadutshwa nginengane intombazane nayo bese ngiyisilwane phambi kwayo kwaze kwafika ekutheni last year ngoOctober ngezwe ngeBellhaven kuyi-harm reduction center la ngiqale khona ngadla imethadone imethadone ngiyithathe from last year October nje usuku lami lokuqala ngiqala imethadone ngazizwa ngomunye umuntu because ama withdrawals avela phela and khona lapha yana kuno nurse nama social workers so bangihlalisa phansi bangibuza ukuthi why ngempela udla ama drugs so ngakwazi ukuthi ngiopen up ekubona ngabatshela zonke inkinga enginazo and banginika ithemba lokuthi hayi impilo isengayishintsha ube umuntu andikwenzeka ngempela nanamanje ngisakuyona imethadone and impilo yami isiguqukile sengisebenzela uSANPUD nami ngiyizwi ngikwazi ukukhulumela abantu ababhemayo and ngibamele la KwaZulu-Natal so bafowethu ningalilahla ithemba sizama kona ukuthi imethadone itholakale kuyo yonke indawo and isoloke sizama because iyasiza bafowethu kuhambisana nama social worker kuyasiza bafowethu ngeke ngiqamba manga mina sengiyazwana nomndeni wami manje ingane yami ngibiza ngobaba ngiyakwazi ukufika ngiphethe uplastic ekhaya sengumuntu angisathathiswa kwephare lokushinjwa wabe ngibizwa ngephare sengiyahlonishwa so impilo bafowethu ikhona ngiyabonga SANPUD ngiyabonga uDr Monique ngiyabonga iBellhaven and ngiyafisa ukuthi ama harm reduction abekuyo yonke indawo ngiyambonga no Deputy Minister ukuthi ahlangane no Shaun basinike izwi ngiyabonga
sanibonani yebo igama lami ngusiyabonga waHadebe and ngisebenza SANPUD as KZN regional rep. I just have a short story to tell that sonke we actually are affected by drugs either way because mina kuno cousin wami oshone through overdose. And I think this job came as a calling because it happened literally after I started at SANPUD. And don't come to mina ekhaya ukuthi how when I was for South African network of people who use drugs, but like in section umuntu through overdose, can you please intervene and help? So I just want to take you through the whole experience. Ukuthi for me, working at SANPUD, I've been at Vet University before for sex worker projects. So it was a whole new experience. Even though I knew about drugs, Bengazi, I was in Gwa 70 summer. Where sex workers away, Bengazi, I'm drugs, but then I did not have information. I didn't know what's being a SANPUD. For me to actually be the voice for people who use drugs, I feel honored because it actually is a platform where I'm actually able to be myself and engage with groups that I've never thought I would engage with, like other homeless who are on the program. noma ngihambe emgwaqweni baya house yawo njani, people are able to greet me, but before bengisaba ukuthi amaphara. So for them to change my mentality ukuthi abantu abanjani, for me it's a huge step, and I'm thankful for the organization. Thanks to DSD. We have Ibel having harm reduction center at Tegwini that we're hoping that we're going to have in all districts or within KwaZulu-Natal. I've already started going to Poshepstein Ugu, whereby I see a lot of challenges with abantu abasebenzisa ama-drugs. So we're hoping by at least the end of the year, we will have all these harm reduction services happening within the province. And what else I would like to know is that you guys matters a lot in our lives, because without you guys, without Tina, actually, there is no harm reduction. So, Ngiyabonga, thank you very much. Cool.
When you hear the sound of my voice, clap twice, clap once, clap twice, clap once, 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 okay. Sure. Okay. Mayor, we are Papa. Mayor, ekseni mesiqala siba ne conversation, ne interaction. Okay, sesiphelile isingisi. Mesikhuluma ekseni, ikhona igama elokhu livela la. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I heard Deputy Minister, about 5 people mentioned Mdu. I'm saying out of order, man. I'm out of order. But I'm more than the program. Ngizwe igama la Mdu Mdu yasinceda. Ubani uMdu ubhuti Mdu usincedile. Nguye ubhuti Mdu onokusilethela ukudla. Ubani uMdu? Uphi? Uzwakale mfethu. Uzokusizwa ngawe. Inja yethu le. Ngicela imic. Cela usenzele yani mic. No. Fanele silungise lezi ngoba asikwazi ukuthi lokhu sizwa igama lomuntu lokhu li common denominator in our reflective session. Budumdu, okay, seselazi igama ukuthi umdu bani umdu wakabani, okay, uhlala kuphi. Wenzani grand why igama lakho lokhu livela kuma sentence kanje ngathi khona into ezinamandla ozenzayo. Uthi ngiqhela ume ngifuna leadership kubone kahle.
Sanibonani. Awu. Leadership yonke. Deputy Minister, Mayor, Speaker, Mama, Hlalo, Chairperson wethu. Siyabonga kakhulu. Mina umduduzo kaMncube bafethu osizweni. Isport sila igazini lami. Mawathi angisika umthambo la zobe qatha ke ibhola. Litekwe futhi kabi. Bayangaziki ukuthi njani nasebholini. Asikuki namagxolazo. Director wa DSD. Mama, ngangakwazi. Kodwa wezwa njengoba bezwile uzizile ukuthi khona umuntu waMncube up until sizesibonana. Mse Sileshaba, manager ewa DSD art center osizweni. Bezwe igama nesibongo bangibiza ngaya kubo. Salima sikhuluma babona isidingo sami. Nami ngasibona isidingo sabo. Ngase ngibona isidingo somphakathi futhi ngoba ngidila ngawo. Mina ke bafethu ngenza ama tournament awu9 ngonyaka. Angithola support ukuthi ngihlebele. Ngiyaxolisa usho njalo phambi kwabaphathi. Deputy Minister, nange 3 March ngangokutshelile this thing. Siphuma ku National TV ngangishilo ukuthi asicela imali yapho kodwa sicela insiza kudlala. Wezwa ku speaker wasemajuba. Kusho ukuthi uyalalela. Angazi number amayithola lapho kodwa ngezwe ke call nje sengibiza office lakhe. Mangithi ngiyafika. Wathi wendoda ake ungixoxele nje. ngase ngithi qaphu qaphu wathi wena soncedana sinawe ngathi ngani wathi ngensizwa kudlala ngathi hayi ubala lolo ngidila ngabo lawo bantu ngidila ngama disabilities cishe abantu bazobona abantu ade ngiyobanikeza imrwabarwaba ngibanikeza amachezi ngibanikeza amabhola ama-wheelchair nawo bakhanda ngama-wheelchair laba bahlala i-wheelchair basketball kodwa sike sayithi nqumnqum no-director wa-DSD uSpeaker wasemajuba ngani mase ngifika ilanga lesibili wacela uze ngevan ngathi vele yazi mina nginevan ngathi kazi ngiyolayisha umkhandlu yini wonke kodwa ngithe mangifika akangitshela bonke umeya ngizobalayisha ngani mangifika wathi mangene ofisini lakhe ngibona nje iplastic enkulu lapha phansi kodwa vele ngangezanga kuyo ngangeze mina kuSpeaker wathi uSpeaker nake ngikuphathele kona ngithi Speaker ke uvule mhlawumbe kunebhomu la avula uSpeaker ayikho into yesports engekho bafowethu ayikho into engayitholanga laphana esports what this is your present I was have to come to your tournament enganyenze ngama Easter ebizwa eCousin Shisanyama Easter Soccer Tournament so washawa isikhathi sokuthi ena ubusy wase nayi present yakho ngayibuza ngingedwa ngathi ngizoyenzani le present ngingedwa kanje kodwa ngathi hayi bakhona abafethu abashoda ngalezi zinto ngafike lokushini ngabuza abafethu obani abechess ayibasho ukuthi obani ngashona khona obani bafethu bebasketball basho ngashona khona hayi soccer ke ngiyabaza yini mina soccer ngiyayazi mental and physically ngase ngithi I know awuthi nginikeze abafethu zonke lezi zinto imonopoly ngangazi dura kanje wanginikeza ama monopoly cishe u10 wanginikeza ama chairs cishe 15 wanginikeza amabhola ama soccer ball ayo 5 kube ama snake ladder ama tennis ama bipi ama marker ama crayon ama puzzles for abantwana ngayi distributor lezi zinto emphakathini ngasomfuwadela ithombo Speaker wathi indoda uyasebenza ndoda ngathi ngisazosebenza sesikuncane lokho saphinde sahlangana ehall kwakhona umeya wasemajuba wathi ake ngibizele indo yamuntu engasondela awunami ngazizwa ngemkhulu ngibiza umeya ngasondela wathi angiphi inamba zakho ngamnikeza umeya bayithatha inamba bona ngifuna uqamba amanga bafethu angeke ngithi abayisebenzisi bayisebenza babethola isikhathi wayithatha umeya zami wathi nami ngicela ukunikeza ezami ngayithatha ezakhe awungelinye ilanga ngamfonela umeya awayibamba ifoni futhi wali mayibamba ngibiza ngegama athi kusho wayisefa kodwa manje akangifoneli ngani pho ngiyayibuza ngingedwa sathi simasixoxa ngabona into kufanele ngangifonile isikhathi asikafiki ngithi mina deputy minister kubafowethu isikhathi sokuyeka ama drugs asifiki manje siyeke manje yazi deputy minister imikuphele ngaba strong it was 1993 it was Good Friday ngayekela utshwala ngayekela ama drugs ngayekela ugwayi athi amajita usuyahlanya yini ngade sengiyahlanya hayi mina ngiride la deputy minister ayikho into abantu bengangenzeli nekhaya kodwa ngangena ema drugsini bengenzela kunjalo ngangena ejele bengenzela kunjalo kodwa ngase ngikhuza ngingedwa akekho umuntu wangikhuza nginengane ngabheka ngathi ingane zami ayikhula ibuka ngelongibhizi ngibambe khona hayi deputy minister nawe mayor speaker director chairperson hayi i-drugs ngeke ulibheme nje ucathi mhlawumbe uzovela uthi asibhemeni majita kumele kube nendlela yokubhema i-drugs niyazi Bolovu injalo nje correct Bolovu thank you nami ngibambe khona kodwa bafowethu manya ngisuka ekhaya kethi kusema 4 kwami kungale kwa ngaselungumsi mangisuka ekhaya mangisuka eBoxer ngithenga izinkwa zasekhaya ngihambisa izinkwa ekhaya bafuna ukuphathela izinkwa lamajita Razmatumani ayothi kuphathele ngithi awungaphatheli na uPondo baphinde bawubange nopondo yikho sengibene mangiphethe noma amapondo amaningi ngivele ngoadvance bawusala bebona bafowethu kodwa ngisungabaqhathi meya ngisongithi mhlawumbe abahlukaniselana ngibatshela bafowethu siyofika isikhathi ngelinye ilanga umuntu nomuntu ozoyitshela ukuthi azini ngiyaphuma manje mina la bavela bafowethu yibo labe nginabo manje meya bayashoda futhi abanye abona bagodolile bangavuka angithi abasabhemi kodwa bafisa ukuyeka ukubhema ukufisa kwabo ukubhema ukuyeka ukubhema angeke bayeke kusasa ngabathana batshela angeke bayeke kusasa njengami mina ngayitshela nje ukuthi yazini ngiyanqamuka manje noma usunqamukile meya man deputy khona lento ethi ayakohamba usinemani uthatha ithwani bayazika abafethini ithwani last well uyalazi uDeputy Minister ngithi ithwale Deputy Minister mangifika endlini vele ngineshandisi bolovo injalo inhlabathi kangako mfethu ngibamba ikhona ngibe njalo bese cha nami ngiyalala ngiyavuka mangivuka ekseni ngibe njalo bese ngiyemajiteni ngifika ngiwabuke mayishaya bathi awusaphemi ngempela ngitaya ukubhubha so bafethu Deputy Minister mina siyacela umasipala bethu bangincede nje ngento eyodwa bangincede insizwa kudlala bangikhokhelele ureferee bangitholele i2 pole stand i-sound system itulo ezo50 amatafula u4 uyabona uma bengangikhokhelela lokho referee namatafula lo ngokushoyo yebo Deputy bafethu Deputy Minister is so
you need 4 tables 50 chairs
2 pole stand
2 pole stands standile izinto zamapos ezinenyawo ezu3 ne sound referee
bese uyasiphakela Deputy
awe
bese siyadla breakfast ne lunch
okay
lapha tournament hayi Deputy ungayihluphi ngamanaging nawo amanetha khona Deputy danke sisi amabhola uspeaker uspeaker ungafona manje ubamba manje ngisese meeting ngintana sekhaya ngizobuya kuwe abuye ngempela kimi ubuya nami selinodlunkulu endlini ngivele ngivule kwispeaker ngifuna udlunkulu yezwe uthi akukho njalo sikhulume no speaker siqede abone ukuthi yazini okhulunywa ngesports la Deputy Minister siphazamisile lento leyo ukuzana econtact sport ngabe subonisa enye into manje la akekho umdlalo ngekho kulabe ngibaphethe basashoda futhi secondly sisigugu babambe kanjalo sisi mntana sekhaya ngaphela moya sisiwami bazoba right kodwa hayi manje ayikusasa ngelinye ilanga injalo bambelela sisiwami ungadini
futhi umuntu nawe phela ikhuzeka lawuleka sengilokhu ngiyasondela
hayi ngenza ngamabomu ngifuna ukuthi uDeputy ayizwe lento kade ukubonile mntana sekhaya
no we are out of time ngifuna ukuxoshwa kwangempela ngicela ungiyele lapha ngemuva really ngicela ukuthi ubhale phansi zonke lezi zinto uDeputy Minister usebenza kanjena ke ebusuku asilali thina tamama nje uzobe efuna imeeting sisimathudo nangidlali ngawo uzobe efuna le list maye soyidinga impela nje ukuthi impela
ucela le list le
yes
ngizoyenza mntana sekhaya
yes
Deputy Minister insizwa kudlala ama-crowd Deputy Minister amelutshani ama-great akuthiwa file kodwa amakhona ikhansela elivelelwa something akhona ya-great estradini Deputy Minister ama-ground ethu agcwala utshani Deputy Minister afakwe iy'tende ema-groundini Deputy Minister iy'nsiza kudlala ziyashoda Deputy Minister ngikhona mina unceda Amajuba District ngiyabonga kakhulu
sure Sancha izandla bayisi No, kumnandi ukuvela udirect program ngavela uzenzela iprogram yakhe eceleni. Yabona ukwenzekalani manje that voice we needed to hear ngoba igama leli lokhu liqhamuke kaningi. Umsebenzi wakho bhuti mntu muhle siyawubonga kakhulu. Esibonge ne leadership zwili azange sirehearse abantu banjalo bacabanga ukuthi njalo mekhona icompliment ezinto ezinhle ukuthi khona umuntu okhulume naye ukuthi ubonge lokhu cha ngiyaqala nje ukukhuluma naye igama lokhu lihamba nje la liZulu. We have a few minutes. I'm told ukuthi we must finalize by 12:30. Cela ama cordless mics ke sizwe from the floor. Maybe ngizocela uDeputy Minister a prepare ama closing remarks. Yes, it's not in the program, but Mama, it would be great to just hear from you, Mrs. Vala, just your closing remarks. And before we do that, yes, a vote of thanks, good speaker, but siyafisa ukuzwa ama closing remarks, good Deputy Minister. Before we hear the closing remarks from the Deputy Minister and before we get the vote of thanks from the Speaker, it would be great to hear the voices, because it's kale with the voices. Amazwenu, sizwe ngani, sikhulumile ekseni. Saba ne program ngoba khona abantu abaningi abazala ngaphambili, sabona nama video. Sezwa nabanye abantu abangekho la usiza balitholile. Mhlambe mesingathatha a few hands, cela nje izandla, angizwanga nje akekho umuntu ongale kulela khona. Ngazi noma fanele kade qinisile ubhuti umuntu uyazi ngoba ade khuluma guys. Mina ngithi yabo ngicela kurealize mayor ukuthi usikile idinga ubamba kanje. Kodwa izolo ayibambe kanje. Izolo ngathi angazi khona wazi ukuthi indaba ubhuti umuntu ode khuluma ukuthi umuntu mebhema khona nje i-position. Ubani ongasixoxela ukuthi kwenziwa yini lokho? Ngicela nje umuntu oyedwa nje. 1 onangoke. Nasi isandla laphayana. Usukume uzithule ungasabi. Siyafisa ukuthi sivale sizwe amazwi enu kungabe ukuthi usifikela ngaphambili kakhulu ngeke sizwe ukuthi nanokuthi nicabangani ngale program namhlanje ngalokho nikuzwile bekusho yini imicabango ekhona sizovala kahle sizwile ukuthi abantu bacabangani. Sho mfethu igama ubani owakuphi come on.
Sanibona igama uThempusi sibonga kaFakoti. Nasisomdala into ezukuthi singabhemi ngendlela efanayo. Nalama tracks swadla awafana.
Okay.
Yabo mawubhema insango kanjalo. Insango manje inojamu wayo. Ubhema ithai. Nalo ithai linojamu wayo.
Okay.
Nengidi nayo inojamu lwayo. Yabo ingidi inalo plug ngiyakushaya manje. Ngiyakeka futhi manje. Bese kuba ithai. Yabona ithai idingishaya deep inside. Wow. Ungawona manje una sister ngaqina singiculela ngimile kodwa ungangiboni ukuthi ngiyacula ngiloko ukuthi mina
hawe ma
ingishayile enhleke manje uthangale ndlela le ungangena uphaphu ugijima kamakwere ufika uhlale phansi ubhema yazi uzophuma usujenke suhamba nje kamnani noma ungangibingelela ke wena mase ngibhemile mina ungilana ndlela yakho kuphapha. Hey wola ya sengibhemile musungiphaphela. Sure face. Sure.
Yeah.
Nje yabo makathiwa ngibhemanga njengamanje. Yangiyeza ukuthi ukuyakade ngathi ngangenzeka kube mashinyane kube ziphinde ngihambe ngiyoqala.
Okay.
Ukuthi bengiboshwe ubana ngazi nami kodwa mele ngiqaqe. Ngibheme. Bese emva kwalokho siyakhuluma nento. Ngoba mangabhema nje hayi ibhuti omdala ngishana ngezobhara. Ngizoxolisa sengibhemile. Cha sengibhemile cha ngiyanxolisa sengiyalibona ke iphutha ngingakabhema ngilibona inhliziyo isuke isemnyama.
Okay.
Kwenziwa yilo.
All right. Ashaya izandla bethu. Khona isandla bes okay nakulapha ngemuva. Sizwa imicabango sizovala uhlelo sithola ukuthi abantu Gambani mfethu uba igama sure
Sanibona
Grand
Grand
sure
igama lami nguBrian wakazikalala eMnambisi so nambe ngisebenzisa ama drugs kodwa ngisizakale eMatadel Rehabilitation Center
okay
into engayisho nje ngawa ama-drugs nami ngiwabhemile from 1998 uqala ukubhema ama-drugs ngize ngayeka lisiya. So bengifunda la Newcastle High ngaphasa ama-matric ngaya tertiary ngasebenza eTransnet waphela umsebenzi ngenxa wama-drugs so ngaze ngawela sengwela kuwo ngisho ukuthi ngina 11 years ngibheme unga ngisho njalo. Kwazile ukuphuma ngaphandle kwe-methadone ngokuyitshela ngaphakathi cause i-choice enziwa umuntu mina ngendlela engibheka ngayo cause wasekuqaleni ukuze uthathe i-drugs ufake emlonyeni it was your choice. Namanje kusese-choice yakho ukuthi uphinde uyeke futhi. So ngendlela engibuke ngayo bekubhlungu kumina ukuthi ngithi ngimile estradini ngendlela ebengiyiyona kuzoqhamuka umntanami angibone ngibile ngibaleke ngasonke isikhathi maqhamuka umntanami nginengane ke nami ezo3 so meqhamuka kumele ngibaleke usuke lo muntu ungenzanga lutho akubize ngephara akushaya usuke lamaphoyisa ungenzanga lutho ayazi ukuthi idayiswa kuphi kodwa azovimba wena ngoba uthengile so usudlala ijele mina benginenkinga ukuthi ke bengithanda ukuhamba mangibhema lento from now on ngisegoli ngiphaphama eSun City bangilanda ekhaya ngibuyele emuva eMnambithi khona manje ngiseThekwini ngiphaphama eWestville bangilanda ekhaya ngibuyele ekhaya ngithi awunge eMaritzburg ngiphaphama eNew Prison so ngase ngidlala ijele ngaleyo ndlela le of which educated bese ngisebenza kahle nginento zami zonke zahamba zonke zaphela even umfazi ngase ngithi ngiyamthatha wahamba so ngarealize ukuthi no ama-drugs impilo I-end up la because even umndeni wami kubhlungu ukuthi qhamuka uma wakho noma ubhuti bami mina ekhaya ngiqhamuka from a very wealthy family bebethi mebeqhamuka ngithi ngiyabingelela kuba vele babhekele shuthi akasekho ngisho owakini omndeni wakho ongakusiza kuleyo nkinga osukunayo ngaleso sikhathi nxa kwabona ubahlukumezile kwabona aba-traumatized banenkinga wona abadinga ama-psychologist ukuthi abasize ngale nkinga yami ngabona ukuthi no into emele yenzeke angiqale ngisizakale mina kuze kulandele bona so I prayed kungena sizo laluqho umuntu waqhamuka umngane wami ngangifunda naye eNewcastle High 1998 99 ngamgcina lapho uyena umuntu waqhamuka wangisiza wangithatha wangisa e-rehab ngathola ubhuti uNhlanhla la and then ngasizakala namhlanje ngiclinic angisekho ema-drugsini ngenxa yawo and then ngase ngilontsha i-program naye uNhlanhla ukuthi sisize bona abafowethu ekutheni nabo bangayenza lento yenzeke ayikho into engenzeki uma uyimisele into uyayenza because you can plan for the future kodwa ngeke uyipredict i-future ukuthi kulethele ngekusasa even nabantwana bethu kusasa bangaphela kule nto singazi kanjani kodwa ekugcineni nje konke kukonke i-choice eyethu ithina esenza i-choice ekuqaleni njengoba ngichazile ukuthi uwena owadecide ukuthi umngane wakho uma ethi miya sibheme wathatha wena wabhema so namanje i-choice eyakho ukuthi manje sengikhathele sengiyayiyeka lento
alright
ngiyabonga
cela simshayele izandla ngicela ukuthi my brother khona usisi lapha ngemuva kuthiwa usisi Muthapi Nkwane hoy yambona ngicela uye kuye nje sisi Muthapi we need that young man the story is crazy powerful 26 June it's International Day according to United Nations International Day again thank you very much Deputy Minister Gune national webinar on the day. I'm told to connect and I know that team Deputy Minister has been looking for a young person who's brave enough to speak about the journey. Umuntu who's lost maybe even umsebenzi or assets or who's been in conflict with the law as a result of abusing substances. And we didn't besingafisa ukuthi sikhulume we desktop research, but rather a voice. So this has been really powerful because now I believe we have a person for the day. Okay, the newly appointed chairperson, new from the box, new, very, very fresh from the box. Angazi noma ngimzwe ngedweni kasi emela kukhona lapho ake hayi okay ngiyakubona mfethu ne ngiyakubona ngizoqala ngawo kukhona lapho ake wabuza. I mean, I think this is the biggest opportunity that we have. It's her first official job, namhlanje, official on duty. And this is really deep. And in her first engagements with people who use drugs, she asks, ubuza ukuthi, uthi asifuni ukuthi simcabangele ukuthi iliphi usizo nilidingayo. Fisa ukuzwa ngani ukuthi iluphi usizo nilidingayo. At that time ngibonile abantu basabile ukubuza uze wathi oh imisebenzi abanye wathi health But I found it so powerful. Ukuthi on her first official duty, she wants to hear ukuzwa ngani ukuthi uluphi usizo that you need. And I wish to open that opportunity so that we don't miss this opportunity. Being asked this question, and uyazi umuntu meqala emsebenzini fika vele siqale ngawe but qeda uphakamisa isandla, and I'm going to take 2 more hands without speaking. Sizweni if there are people abantu abafisayo ukuthi baphendule lo mbuzo obuziwe uMamnandi ukuthi uluphi usizo wena othi uyalidinga. Sure, my brother, siqale ngawe.
Sanibonani.
Sure.
It's Chester Mulife. Kushuthi drug nje ekesinsikhathi njengoba silana sighting sister sokuyisimo esiphila kuso njengani emakhaya asiphile emakhaya afanayo. Abanye bandlana nje basilana basuke bangadlile. Abanye bana impahla zokugqoka, abanye even cosmetics. Leyo nto le yamlimaza umunye umuntu uthi uphaka ekhaya athi mama yo ishebo sabantwana lezo. That thing inkandiphara kakhulu ukuthi ngibone ngathi angisenamhlaba ifamily yami ngifuna. Ngiyakuma mamncane cela ungipha i5 hey hamba oshaya isicapha. Ungisa kwamanye amaphara and lawo maphara answempu ukuze uthola imali mele ugibele igazi. Njengokuthi uthatha umama wenqola yami mina ngiyakhera kuze ngithole something ukuthi ngingaganga ibody le.
Okay.
Mangithatha umama la nge2 sister iphuma imeda phambi kwakho nge2 sibanga ama plastic akho. Ngendlela esicindezeke ngayo mama. And another thing into esenza ukuthi mina ngibuye rehab last year. Umuntu beke ngiphethe umama Mapita ngiyacabanga ukhona. Umama Mapita ungiklinile ngazibona ngusibu chest ukuthi yabo mangiphuma la ngiyoshaya ingane. And izinto bengizicabanga bezi fresh ni open no mama Mapita bona ukuthi manje angisasilo ya chest alweni. And then after it mawuphuma la ngaphandle the first thing into ozoyithola kuzoza upapa action njengoba nguchest athaba usukuchance imbili. Yilebo ongakayitsheli ngaphakathi enhlizweni yakho ngoba everything before yenza mele utshele inhliziyo yakho.
Sure.
Ungaqoka amajazi ukhololo ushumayela abantu abangangala. Ukhitha amagwebu ubusuku bonke ushumayela. Kanti you devil uyayibona yona. Indaba ibe senhlizweni. And another thing, if you say rehab, ngiyacela ngobumusa wena abantu abakhulu kunathi mayor umsebenzi into esilimaza lana umsebenzi.
Okay.
Ase please ngiyacela mina uyakwame rehab ngathi mangiphuma ekhaya ngithembisa ukuthi ngiyosebenza cabanga ukuyosponsor imoto ama rim time ngangizohola malini imali time mangiphuma erehab bathe ekhaya yo ungasu chest eJozi uzohola kayiwana keqa isiponono chest. And mina bengithi mangingabhema ngibe nenkinga ke bafethu anginabhuti eceleni kwami or idusisi or like okhulile ozongibuyisa uthi hayi chest mana yena don't do it now it's 20 rand.
Don't do it chest, don't do it.
Manje ngiyi1 vele mangithi tech yayibodi le
take
mangithi don't mangithi ngiyagwaza sonje impilo ayiphambili yini ucindezelwa umuntu wasekhaya iroots yakho ozalwa nayo icindezele uthola umsebenzi hambe ngale mangobe yokhuluma wrong engigada ama driver uthi uthola umsebenzi ngapha engigada amakhalavu yebo umuntu wasekhaya iroots yakho ende lapho ngiyabuyela ekhetho ngiyolunda kubeka mo yamagani yayibona.
So Chester,
sikhula nangamafamily nangabosisibethu bayasindezela bangamadwana udaliwe naye hayi ukuthi inkade vele ufuza umamkhulu uyacindezela ebonile. So mina I give you power guys, nibe strong bafethu abathathe esivayo yabo mina ngibuyela time B manje ngiyangikhrijwa intshelo lodwa endleleni leyo.
Yo. Hi, ne guys. Cela nishayeni izandla. This is power. Okay. Ne man, bafethu. Seselapho ne brother Chester, you are power. Yazi ukuthi you are leadership. Yazi kube nje kube kuthiwa kuya ngami. Kube kuthiwa kuya ngami nje mina ngiyimi. Kube kuthiwa benginethuba lokuthi ngime phambi kwe microphone kanje ngikuthule. Beyazi bengizothini mengibiza wena. Bengizothi leadership. Bese abantu bathi leadership. Leadership. Hey shipu. Hey shipu. Yeah, fethu. This is the first speaker, actually. I don't know if you guys remember. Meng figure like saying in Sakotola and Sabuzu, they say, so far we rehab, but was forced to get rehab. I know, as in the session is about Sazan. The first person who had the liver with the nyongo on the side was Brother Chester. Power to you, my brother. When I say more, you say fire. More! When I say more, you say fire. More! Fire! Bomba cloud, you be wasting my shit. Blow. All right. Leadership is a funuguzwa uguti from us. Yini lesi dingayo. Brother Chester, he powerful in that you show us. I'm gonna come to you. I don't want to take you now. Let me take 2 more hands. This is the guys. When do you have the whole leadership like this? Yes. When I say more, you say fire. More. I can't get shame. No. I want to take that hand first. The gentleman with the gray cap. Yeah, Mona Leaf. Yo, that light is. Yeah, I think I want to shoot. Yeah. Is for the videographer? Is the lights? It's highly affecting the peripheral view from our eyesight. It's necessary for the lighting. I don't need to look like a yellow bone. I'm fine with this, mate.
Yes, I do need the light.
Okay.
If it's too harsh, I saw there's a gentleman with a helmet visor, something.
Okay.
Earlier on, maybe you can borrow that for a minute.
Oh, okay. What's your name? Sorry, you part of the session. What's your name? Where are you from? We'd like to know you as well.
Me, the videographer. Yes, I'm Francois. I'm from Pretoria.
You from Pretoria,
Yes.
Francois. Welcome, Francois. Are you enjoying yourself?
Yes, for the bit that I understand.
Okay. From what you have understood, like what are you taking from this? Because you usually just take videos and you edit, but right now here we are, you documenting a very powerful conversation with people that are using drugs in this district, and we never hear the voice from the person behind the camera. Any thoughts from you?
Well, I don't understand too much. That's a big thing.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I don't have much experience in terms of, any people that uses substances.
Okay.
I'm really wary, and forgive me, my mother tongue is Afrikaans, so so the thing is,
Ons praat alles.
yeah, no, but I've also just to mention for what it's worth, I've got family members that's involved with a place called Hope Center in Middelburg, Mpumalanga.
Hope
It's
Center.
Yeah, Hope Center, Hope Corner, and that's where they assist people with rehabilitation as well.
Okay.
It's a church.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that information. See, there is a voice behind the camera, and we'll give you a big round of applause as you give us back our talk. Baie dankie, meneer Francois from Pretoria. We'll take a voice there from the young person.
Sanibona njani?
Eta,
Ngiyaphila sis. Nikhuluma noWandile isibongo ngwakandlozi.
Andile.
Wandile. Yes. Just to add nje kule ndaba ye drug issue ne. Mina engikufundile for today.
Okay.
Number 1 is support. Ne? Kube kuthiwa bengasi support, I think ngabe mhlawumbe abaningi most yethu ngaba bekho la.
You understand? Because abaningi sebelahlekelwe lento abathi is self confidence. You understand? So ngiyathemba ukuthi uma ngabe bebona ukuthi kunabantu ababakhathalelayo ngalendlela abakwazi ukubanika ithemba sibuyiseke okanye siyithola ukuthi singobani. You understand? Because kunabantu lento le yamaphara. You understand? Kunabantu ababizwa ngamaphara and uthola ukuthi leyo nto iyaba affect useyibona kasasi umuntu yena se decide ukuthatha ama decision are wrong. We understand? Because nakho ubizwa ngokuthi uyiphara. But i-support ngiyacabanga ukuthi iyona ezosiza kakhulu abantu because bayabona ukuthi kunabantu ababakhathalelayo. And then bese kuba khona le into ubhuti uChester i-issue yomsebenzi. Bengicela ukuthi ngicela ukuyiraise kakhulu i-issue yomsebenzi because abantu abaningi abase ingakho begcine bengene edakamizweni. Kunale ekabhuti Mdu. Bhuti Mdu ngimzwile ekhuluma ngendaba yama sports kakhulu but mina nje ngakwelami side bengicela nje ukuthi indaba yomsebenzi please ngiyacela kakhulu. Ngiyabonga.
Sure. Okay, I'm going to request, can you still hear me? Nyangis? Okay, ngizocela mandla, kukhona into ekuthiwa i-Children's Act. So the people that are in front coming around and taking pictures, ngicela sithi kuyihlonipha-ke at this particular moment. Because I want to give an opportunity, I know we have young men who are currently in the rehab center. I'm happy that the videographer is taking shots from the back. So whoever speaks, ngicela ungaphenduki, ubheke ngalana so that we don't show your face. We have to dance first? Okay.
Me and my people have to do the dance.
All right. Can you dance? Can you dance, you guys?
Yes, my human beings. Let's show them how we bambelela. Yeah, no? So get us the bambelela, me and my boys. We want to show you how we bambelela. So let's do this thing, guys. My people. Let's show someone how we bambelela. Come, guys. Let's do our bambelela.
Come on now, we are losing our... Ngiyamtshela nge-leadership, Deputy Minister, Umama Hendrietta Bogopane-Zulu, with the boys presenting to you Bambelela.
Way too many people still dying from HIV. We got ARVs, but there's still a lot of blood in these streets. Still a lot of kids with no parents. So much going on. So before you go and have fun, put a condom on. Also, have fun. Right side of the law. Me, I've known a few thugs, and the law got them all. Jaton got killed. Ulumkile had skills, so they got his ass shot. And the garment got nabbed. It's kinda sad how I cannot even drink much, cause I'm still traumatized by my alcoholic dad, who still gets affected. I know I do exist. Half the youth doing drugs like they got a death wish. Take a moment to reflect on how you live the life you're blessed with. If your life is a mess, everything is gonna be okay. And even if it's not, tell yourself that everything is gonna be okay.
Amajuba District, we bring it to you live, baby. You. What? Bambelela. Deputy Minister in the house. I tell you now, this woman is flexing, dropping it like it's hot. Booyah shaker. Yes, in leadership, Lena. Yay. Together with the boys.
Think about that next time you're on Twitter, next time you deliver another killer blow to somebody's confidence and get rid of all their inner strength for whatever that they haven't done yet. Don't kill the dreams of abantu chasing success. Do yours. Do it to your best. Do yours. Everybody got it. You ain't gotta stress.
What?
I know it gets hard. And when it does, say your prayers and know that he's God. But when you haven't got a job or a plot to get to the top, but don't ever stop. If your life is a mess, everything is gonna be okay. And even if it's not, tell yourself that everything is gonna be okay.
Oh, everybody rise up! Yeah! Everybody raise up! Babelela! Drop it! What? Yeah! Babelela!
Lendleni nameva kodwa kuzodlula
Bambelela
bekesela kuzolunga kuzokhanya nakuwe ngenyimenge
Bambelela
bekesela
kuzolunga
kuzokhanya nakuwe ngenyimenge
Bambelela
If your life is a mess, everything is gonna be okay. And even if it's not, tell yourself that everything is gonna be okay.
Party over here, Bambelela, Gunesela, Bambelela, Guzolunga, leadership, Sayizanda, yeah! Blow! Yeah, inayazi leadership nje. No, please take the mic. Have you ever in your history of niggerdom, have you ever in the history of niggerdom got to know the whole member of parliament, the entire leadership, the entire deputy minister who is so cool and so flexible and so chilled and so bumbling and does follow up? Cela ukuthi siphe leadership a big round of applause. DM, you are the dopest. DM. I wish to give a voice to one of the young men. Angazi ukuthi ubanje ozizwayo ngabheka mina ngebazibani shoot ebusweni from the back. I understand that you are currently in the center. Kuhamba kanjani? Guys, no. Okay. Let's give a voice to one of the young guys. Nanguliva laphayana ngazi ubani ofuna ukubamba microphone kini. You are currently in the center. Kuhamba kanjani phakathi nenzani laphayana? Ucabangani? How are you feeling? Nansi leadership. Asizwe mfethu.
Sanibonani.
Sawubona.
Ngibonga ithuba. Currently sise rehab nabafowethu.
Okay.
As long as ngifikile miss izinto isahamba kahle because miss besenza sizizwe nathi ukuthi asilahliwe yabo lisekhona elinye ithuba nathi sengakhona ukushintsha because sibonile nathi ukuthi izinto besizenza bezi wrong yabo. So bona bakhona for us basinika icourage esiyidingayo ukuze sikwazi ukuqhubeka nempilo futhi siphume nangaphandle si-advise abanye abafowethu ukuthi bangahambi kule step lezi esihambile nanokuthi abakhona kulezi step ama-rehab akhona and for akhona futhi a-free angithi
Okay.
so sebengaya kuwo nabo bayothola usizo lo thina esitholayo yabo ukuze nabo bakwazi ukubuyela esimeni ama-families nomphakathi akwazi ukuthi babamukele back yabo nabo babe abantu futhi emphakathini ngiyabonga.
Yo. There are young men who are taking a stand. Anikho nodwa. And siyabonga ngempela ukuthi nivume futhi ukuthi nibe part of I-program namhlanje. But see, you had a burning, ngiyakubona ukuthi uyasha. You are burning.
I'm not burning, I'm fine now.
You are, okay, burn again.
Okay, I just have a question for Central Drug Authority. Okay, as the drug user who have been violated by police before, I see this happening a lot in metro cities that we get a lot of police harassment. Maybe they'll harass you for maybe not actually carrying anything, just for the fact that they know within the area which you are using. So how can we maybe address these challenges broader? Because we do work with organizations that fighting advocacy and with regards to police harassment, but then I don't think we're getting to a stage where solutions are, where we get solutions. So we just want to try and find out, as maybe Central Drug Authority, can you advise us in a way where we can maybe try and fight this police harassment for people who use drugs? Thank you.
Okay, beautiful. So yegela ku Deputy Minister when she does the closing remarks. Address umem. Do we have any final burning comment, question? Mhlawumbe sifuna ukubonga from the ngifuna ukuthi before speaker azobonga from the leadership. Mhlawumbe khona umuntu ofisa ukudlulisa ukubonga. Yes, ngathi kukhona esizokuthola vele kokudla nakho still going to get. Ikhona mhlawumbe umuntu ofisa ukudlulisa ukubonga noma ukusho something. Okay, I'm seeing 3. Putumtu? Itsini into yakho? Ngicela muphi microphone?
Oh, Zizi ngiyabonga mntana sekhaya.
Sure.
No, mina ngicela ukudlulisa uDeputy Minister. Ngathi kodwa ngangizwa kahle basathi ngqomu lapha.
Okay.
Deputy Minister.
Imakancane. It's
Okay.
DM. Okay, DM sakarate.
Seku right.
Yeah, seku right.
Deputy Minister. Awuthi ngithatha isigqoko sibeke phansi inhlonipho iyafuneka. Mina Deputy. Ngiyabonga Nkosi yami ngihlonipha Deputy. Nami ngiyahlonipha Deputy. Deputy, ngibonga ukuthi awunawo amanga. Ngicela umshayeli nzakhe akanawo amanga. Deputy, wafika nge-3 March osizweni community hall. Wafike wanikeza abafowethu izipho, waselebrate nabafowethu ibirthday yakhe, 50-year birthday. Wasithembisa ukuthi uzobuya ngoJune. Kodwa idate wangasipha, but i-office lakho lisiphile date last week. Deputy Minister, siyabadinga ama-leadership anjengani. Siyabadinga abantu abanjengani leadership. Kusho ukuthi ena uSpeaker wasemajuba mhlawumbe uthathe la kuwe lento or kuye egazini. Akanawo naye amanga. Makuthi usezoba namanga, kushela khona abazobe be-influence eduze kwabo. Deputy Minister, ungadinwa mfethu. Amanga awunawo, uthembisa into uyenze ne-office lakho siyabonga.
Leadership. You are on Facebook, you are on Twitter, you are on Instagram. Asingaposti izinto ezimbi kuphela. Ngoba into ebhlungu ukuthi yes umama uyayizwa imessage kodwa yena ngeke khona ukuthi ashintshe abantu abangafuna ukushintsha around here. But the more voices is what keep lapha yana compliment isibhaleni. There was another hand, Brother Shaun you wanted to. Okay, let me take that hand first.
Sanibonani.
Sawubona mfethu.
Ngusabelo Nwankosi Gama. Ngo-professional nurse lapha eKhanyan Treatment Center uhamba nabafana abancane laba ya.
Siyabonga.
Yebo. Kunomfowethu ongi-approachile la. Uthi uyesaba ukukhuluma, uthe ubone ngoba ngathi ngowezempilo. Wayesethi akangi-approach. Uthi bayaspike. So bayacela ukuthi basizakale nabo ngama-needles just to prevent ukuthi kube ne-cross infection. Mabe spike. So uyacela ke naye lapho bangasizakala ngalapho ezicelweni zabo abazethulayo. Siyabonga.
Siyabonga. Elashaya izandla. I need to translate this one in English. There's a young man there who has requested the brother who's working as a nurse at the center, his request is, we need needles. We want to protect ourselves. We need needles. We want to be safer in the space. So I'll allow DM to respond to all these things. I'm just translating in between. Brother Shaun, you had a hand up.
At the last South African 800s, I held a sign up which said, hashtag keep the promise. For the first time, I've been able to hold one up which says, hashtag you kept the promise.
Oh, wow. There was a hand. Cindy, you had a hand up. No? Okay. Says right. Okay, now this hand let's ngapha. 2. We have 10 more minutes. Maybe 5 so that we can allow DM to do closing remarks and then the speaker vote of thanks. So these are the last 2 hands. Show of it.
Yo, John.
Yo, what's up?
Sapin, Kamalami no Oami. Atswala.
Okay.
Yo, ale osizweni.
Sure.
Yo, tengletse khanyani ama drugs. Abese ngibhema kakhulu insango. Singasahloniphi, ngasabambeki. Ekhabe ngitshela uthi iyekele lento yakhe yakubhayizisa. Qhube mina ngibheme bese ngibhemile bese ngiba mnandi, hleke into engahlekisi nje. Ngihleke bengiqeda ukuhleka ngibona uthi hayi. Tshela oledi sometimes uthi hayi, oledi yazi ngiyadinga usizo kodwa ngikwazi ukuyisiza. Lathi oledi kunjani bongazama i-rehab? Ngathi hayi rehab i-rehab mhlawumbe ngaba ngcono bokuthi mhlawumbe angisayiphathi imali yokukhere ngisayivele yona mhlawumbe ngithenga impahla ngoDisemba yabo lathi already manje uzodlana esikoleni ngathi mina hayi ngizobona ukuthi ngidlana esikoleni hayi already qhubela ngineze imali ngiyazi ukuthi hayi benginemali engicabangayo nje ama drugs bema nje insango ngibhemele alathi already hayi hamba e-rehab ngaqala ngaba nakho ukuthi hayi ngifuna ukuye rehab mina ngiyakuzonda ukuye rehab kodwa ngathi hayi kuze ngithole usizo angihambe nge-rehab ngithola usizo ngabona ukuthi hayi e-rehab kuyaphiliswana uhlala mnandi uhlangane nabanye abafana nawe sixoxe nje ukuthi hawu wawubhemani wena besho ukuthi hayi sasibhema lokhu nalokhu ngabona ukuthi hayi lento le yabheda angiyikhwithi sebengitshela ihighness yakhona baye babebhema ihunga baye babhema lokhu bangitshela ukuthi hayi ihunga iyabheda hayi rehab safunda okuningi basitshela ngenhlonipho kuba ne-communication nabanye abantu ngifundile okuningi nje
uzodlalisa singana nge-rehab manje?
Mina ngafika nge-26 April.
Okay. Uzizwa njani?
Singi-right.
Okay. Bambelela.
Bambelela.
Okay, Shayzana, the young man, Sivala, with the Konoputi just behind him with the blue Adidas. Bambelela.
Nkosi yami, mina benginesicelo. Kuje besacela nje Nkosi yami minister isizame la ukuthi sise e-rehab sizokwazi usikekelele into isiphe nomsebenzi mangabe sesilungile sesi right. Isicelo sami ngiyabonga.
Okay. So we also have a few young people in the room
who are requesting opportunity to go through a rehabilitation program.
Sizovula sizosukmisa Deputy Minister enze ama closing remarks, and then we will hand over to the speaker to do vote of thanks. Isikhalo somntomtsha sihoye,
Thula mntwana wena ukhalela, thula mntwana wena ukhalela, thula mntwana wena ukhalela. Isikhalo somntwana sihoye, thula mntwana wena ukhalela, wena ukhalela, thula mntwana wena ukhalela. Sithi sizojika izinto wena ukhalelani, wena ukhalelani, wena ukhalelani, sizojika izinto wena ukhalelani, wena ukhalelani,
Thula mntana wena ukhalela.
Siyabonga. Shaun and Prof, see we have the mayor and the speaker. I see you have the whole leadership of the district. So we are going to have our harm reduction center here. And we're going to have MCHA. We're going to have our clean needles and syringes here. And they'll make sure it happens. So, my human beings, mina nani sinedila ngithi. So our next program, akuna kuthi singaba ne relationship enhle kangaka bese I harm reduction center yenzakala la. So yenzakala ngicela kunithembisa. It's gonna happen. We are gonna have our district committee functioning. We have our local action drug committees functioning. We are gonna have our harm reduction center, and we are gonna work very, very hard. So this afternoon, siyobesi inductor district anti-substance abuse forum. Every day I can't remember this word. So kumele si align because they are called district drug action committees. They are not supposed to be anti-substance. So we are they started when I was not there. So now I am conditioning and fixing, lungising. So Mayor, they are, according to the drug master plan, they are district action drug committees. Anti is a very negative word. It does not gonna take us because it's gonna make the police to harass us. So the proper terminology, it's district drug action committees. So the anti is not supposed to be there. So this afternoon we will be inducting the district drug action committee in terms of the drug master plan, and we also gonna make sure Nina Bafowethu, remember we launching SANPUD because the district drug action committee can't function without a representative of yourselves. Nothing about us without us. So according to what's in the structure, kumele nathi sikwazi ukuthi sibambi AGM yethu yabona musla siguqa khona ne la sihlonipha khona indaba yethu so that sizosho ukuthi who's going to represent us. Mara mina already know because we kumele masihleli bekhuluma English bomeya banganishiyi ngaphandle, because that is what these committees are about. It's about supporting. So ngicela kusho ukuthi we'll be launching everywhere ka social development is establish ama coordinating committees that represents all the departments. And amongst the things esikhuluma ngayo is to stop harassment of people who use drugs by police. I've just learned this morning, njengoba beningibona ngena with my head, I went to go and do ama spot checks. Yabona checking down, bangakwazi without them recognizing it, and my head did a great job this morning. Not even the police could recognize me. The station commander Soma throw me outside. Get out! Out! Masasipuma ngithi officer, can I see the station commander? Out! Station commander for what? Just get out. I tell you, by the time I'm like, just tell the station commander, the deputy minister of social would like to see her outside. We'll wait outside. You said we must get out, so we're getting outside. So we went outside and we waited. And I've never seen a police shy attention so fast. I had to get out. Get out. So I said, deputy minister, ngaleso sikhathi ngabe sengishaya kancane ngiyiphumela ngaphandle njazo tell station commander uzosithola lapha estradini. So we know this thing, it happens. And cela kunitshela ukuthi iyaqala ubaba uMsholozi yasase upresident. I can remember that cabinet meeting very well. And he said then, the minister of police was Nathi Mthethwa. And the former president said to Nathi Mthethwa, you must tell your officers to stop abusing people who use drugs, to stop abusing sex workers, and to stop abusing foreigners. These three people are not your officers' ATMs. So every time I still remember his words because I was there, when he said, this thing must come to an end. When Fikile Mbalula came in as the Minister of Police, he told him the same thing in another meeting. Ukuthi, the police must stop harassing sex workers, people who use drugs, and foreigners. And the third time is when Ubheki Cele came in as the police minister. Then when he was the commissioner, he used to tell him. When they come to prevent ama statistics, he used to tell him. Even Magaba, who minister, he told him the same thing. You must tell the police, bayekele ukuhlukumeza abantu abasebenzisa idakamisa ama sex workers nabantu ababuya ngaphandle. So ngifuna ukuthi everywhere is one of the things, because language of war doesn't help, because addiction is a disease. Ukugula kumele kutreatwe kanjalo. So, and addiction, drugs. We get addicted. I always make an example. The minute you start drinking 6 cups of coffee, you must start getting worried. Because then that means caffeine is your drug. You need the fix. My grandmother used to say, you see, when we can manage sex 7 days a week. Sex is becoming an addiction. Yeah. So it's not only drugs that are an addiction. We deal with addiction as a package. Because when addiction is a disease, irrespective of whether it's drugs and what and what. So we must treat people who are addicted to food, who eat all the time. And then you want to treat them differently just because what they are addicted to is acceptable. Guys, no, we can't do that anymore. So we all gonna walk the journey together. Lape muva, kune team DSD for abantu abafuna rehab. Singakhohlwa, rehab is by choice. Nobody can force you to go there. only the judge if you've committed the crime. Mara any other thing, guys, it's voluntary. Ne? When you are ready for rehab, noma ngabe ufuna kuya namhlanje, itransi ishapu, umbhede ushapu, uyovela uthi shelele. Yeah. Mafuna kuya rehab, vandag, today, you are sorted, mchan. It's ready for you. We have our program, we call it Siyalulama. So, siyothi shelele ngala, assessment, so all here. And we somara faka you in the transport and hambisa you by choice. Ne? Nalaba basazocabanga, you know, while you are still gonna think about it, when you are ready, you tinta us, and then you go shwelele. Mahala. Manfika laba batkokisa need to know the TM said for free. Because we don't want abantu bahluleke kuye rehab because, but we must also understand the rehab is not the beginning and the end. Ne? See on silver bullet. You still have to do the time, mchan. Isigwebo sona kumele usenze. Rehab bazokunceda on how to do the time. Mara the time, yenzwa uwe mchana. Mara will be there legelela, you see. Support, sihambe sonke. So, I learned this morning that the integrated committee doesn't exist in Amajuba. So I'll be establishing it. Ama committee wetu, it's where the police, social development, health, justice, and they meet on a quarterly forum. It's quarterly forums where they can, social workers and DSD team can have time to give Amapoisa feedback. Namapoisa can say, okay, these are the crimes as increase. It's create, and then justice, the magistrates and the judge, they all sit in this. We establish them, we have them everywhere. So I learned this morning which I exist Amajuba because I'm a social worker complaining, I'm a police complaining, I'm a social work. So now we need to make sure which our code. Coordinating social crimes integrated coordination committee, something like that. But it's where all the departments siyahlala every quarter and make sure we go through izinto. Sources we establish and ihambisana namaboma 2-3 hour half-day sessions on training on one thing or the other, so that the people abaku leadership in this remain understanding ukuthi awukwazi ukuthi uyo abuser the buyer and not look for the big fish that sells the drugs. So sindlule sithi siyabonga mayor no speaker, because like Belhaven we are, and like Cape Town, the third center will be here, and we are going to make sure it happens. So, and we know SANPUD is going to support us to make sure it happens. But we are also committed, Bafwetu. At the moment, method it's very expensive because there's one supplier. So, Sesi Reizile in our cabinet committee, a social cluster, that the Department of Health must have more companies so that the price can go down, because Tina, we pay 10 times more and we only have one supplier, so we are tired now. Message delivered, and the Deputy Minister of Health is dealing with it. But we'll also be running a campaign that we are doing, supported by the through our Presidential Joint Commission with Egypt. I tell you, even as I was sitting there, the ambassador of Egypt is literally chasing us now, where they are going to assist us with diagnostics and treatment of hepatitis C. Because if we are to get to 0 new HIV infections, we can't ignore hepatitis C, because it's also a blood-borne disease. So kumele nayo silwisane nayo. So sinaleyo program, which is an international program that falls under the Presidential Joint Commission between South Africa and Egypt. Siyazi mara ukuthi Egypt ababaphathi kahle abantu abasebenzisa ama-drugs. They don't treat their drug, the people who use drugs properly. So the law will be South African one, but we need their treatment because it's affordable, but also it's south to south, and we keep it in Africa, where we must now start finding. And we are looking at influencing them. When they come to South Africa, we are looking at also influencing them so that they can go back home and treat their own people better. So that's the deal. We're going to show them what humanity is, Ubuntu, and actually show them that people who use drugs can actually contribute. Sinoyoli, ukhona uyoli namhlanje, ukhona we-NDA. So, my people, na into ezenzeka, Mayor. I-National Development Agency, is going to work with yourselves, ukuthi siqale i-cooperative. Angithi abanye bethu, we can do something. Angithi, so as you let us skills, mhlambe mina ngishaya u-tiling, ngishaya u-plumbing, ngishaya welding. Yabana umsebenzi wethu wezandla. Bese ke my job mina ke sithembiso sami. My promise is that I must make sure the cooperative of people who use drug is registered, and then training happens, and then ngithole imali nyana to kickstart the cooperative. Because, hey guys, ukumlinda to be employed, hey, that's not a chance now, ne? We must start to create imisebenzi yethu, niyabona? So sizocela i-NDA isincede ukusihlanganisa ne-office lakazethu to help us as drug users to start changing our own lives. Slowly, take the baby steps so that we can have something esivukela kiyo emergency. Niyabona? Sisebenze nyana sithole lokho okuncane, and then Cindy, we're gonna sort you out. So before ngihamba ntasi, because uCindy doesn't have an ID, doesn't have documents, therefore umntwana doesn't have a document. So Cindy, before I go back to Pretoria on the 16th, you and me are going to do these things. Siyofuna your documents, so that we can get you kusas. So before I leave on the 16th, Mchana, you and me, together with the child, sizoya Home Affairs, asiphelezele social worker, masiqeda siyeka SASSA, and then we begin to try and solve the problem, so that noma family ehlangane somewhere, at least impilo yomntwana ibe different. Ne? So I promise, Itimiam, we're gonna go sort out, send the show to social worker, sinawa we basebenzi bethu basishaya ngencwadi, and then we get the birth certificate for the child, so that sizwazi ukuthi umntwana angeke agcine naye seka njani. But we'll also help you as an intravenous drug user or breastfeeder, because you are breastfeeding angithi. So we must make sure you have clean needles and clean syringes so that you stay clean for the child. Uyabo? So mangabe bongena themba ntasi, hold on to bambelela to say I want to be a better mother. And drugs, you are not going to kill me. Neither is hepatitis, neither is HIV. I'm going to live for my child. And because we can see, even though you guys are in the street, the baby's looked after. So we must give you credit. Asishayele no Cindy Zanza. Sishayele no Sipho. Ashayele no baba phela no Sipho naye. Noma basestrateni, they look at responsible father. Yeah. Yes, so solve the problem. Because no man say you still are responsible parents. You know, some of the parents have everything, man, they're not caring like the love and the care I saw you guys have for your child. So I know you want the best. So to get everything sorted. So this is just the beginning. The next time in Amajuba, it will be in October. So between when I leave on the 16th and when I come back in October, we'll be working on our harm reduction center. So that at least in October, we halfway. But between then and then, we are going to ask, Uguchi, we've got Ikanyani, a rehab facility for children. We've got Amatat. Between the two, we must get our needle and syringe exchange program going somehow, so that by the time we'll get Umaspala was in Newcastle, Zama us with a building there, and then start our process so that Prof and Shaun can help us put it together, and then we know Gucci, slow, people are getting help. Away Majimbus.
We have come to the end of the program. We will utilize our English skills and we will use our hands and give a big round of applause as we welcome the speaker to do the vote of thanks.
When you get the sound, number boys, clap once, clap twice, clap once.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Let me remove the mask. No, siyabonga kakhulu. Program Director, thank you very much for making sure ukuthi uhlelo lethu luhamba kahle. Kusukela ekseni sifikile ulibambe kahle. Ngiqala ngawe as I'm doing my vote of thanks because I know very well most of the time siyabakhohlwa Program Director ukuthi baqhubeka kanjani uhlelo, because this program ibingeke iqhubeke kahle kube uProgram Director wethu beneyinkinga. So thank you very much Zizi Mkhaya, thank you. Thank you, I don't know, Deputy Minister Mile ngiqale kade sifikile sibonana ekseni, but kubalekile ukuthi siphinde sibingelele because ngiyaqala ukukhuluma nawe sesikhuluma sonke, bengikhuluma nawe esihlebe. Sibingelele Deputy Minister, our champion in our district, umama Hendrietta Bogopane-Zulu, our mayor, district mayor Mbovu, siyabingelela sihlalo Mushasha Mamunandi Khoza, siyabingelela siyajabula ukuba nawe, our Prof Shaun and everyone who's here. Angifuna ukugcina ngeqa abanye abantu, siyabonga kakhulu. Sanibonani. Sibingelele abafowethu nodadewethu abakhona ngaphakathi kwethu. Obani sasinabo ngaphandle kwamdu angasiphakamisa isandla, sasinabo sise osizweni ngoMarch. Phamisa isandla nje. Okay, no, siyabonga kakhulu. Sasihlangane nani ngoMarch with the Deputy Minister, and she promised, yes, ukuthi sizobuya sibe se hotel, sihlale endaweni enhle, sibe right, nangempela sikhona. So now I think Deputy Minister ngifuna ukugcizelela kulokho, siyabonga kakhulu. You are one of the few abathi mabethi into bazoyenza bayenze ngempela. So I'm learning a lot from you. Yes, Mtu, you are correct. I'm learning from the Deputy Minister. Ayikho into emnandi njengokuthi uthi into uzoyenza eMayor bese uyayenza ngempela. Masuyenza yabo vele uyibona ukuthi no uyibambile le way. But thank you very much our participants for making sure ukuthi niyafika la uDeputy Minister mayesimeme ukuthi sifike, ngoba kube kuthiwa Deputy Minister bafikanga ngesikhathi sibacela ukuthi bafike ngaba sinayo program enhle kangaka. And also those who are coordinating them, Butumdu, siyabonga kakhulu for your work. Team Deputy Minister, thank you very much, because without you guys this program ngaba sinayo. So we really appreciate umsebenzi wenzayo. Siyazi you started to call us 2 weeks before Deputy Minister fake. Speaker siyeza so siyabona ukuthi sokeni sihluphelani sihluphe efana nale. So thank you very much Team Deputy Minister led by ubaba Mahlako. Ngiyakubingelela baba Mahlako. Thank you very much guys. We really appreciate ukuthi kunabantu ngempela abafisayo ukushintsha. And Prof, when you are addressing it's people before the drugs. It's not like drugs before people. It's like into bezamukisho uyichazile program director ukuthi akuona ama drugs asebenzisa abantu but abantu abasebenzisa ama drugs. Siyayithola? Akuona ama drugs asebenzisa thina. Yithina esebenzisa ama drugs. Okusho ukuthi we can take decision ngama drugs ukuthi siyawayeka noma siyaqhubeka nawo. Hayi ukuthi wona a decide ngathi. So angifuna ukuphinda sekushiwo kakhulu but siyabonga kakhulu Mayor, your opening remarks were straight to the point and ngiyacabanga ukuthi wonke umuntu ongaphakathi uzwile, but I'm happy one more time program director, there are people from the floor, from your audience abathi bafuna ukushintsha, and Deputy Minister semayikhuluma say we are ready. Ukhona umbhede, ikhona imoto, ikhona indawo, ikhona nje yonke into yakho. So if ufuna ukuhamba nathi namhlanje asiyeni, bathi aridumia samaya. So namhlanje ufuna ukuhamba nathi siya rehab sikhona. Zikhona ingubo, ukhona uthi kuyabanda Deputy Minister, zikhona ingubo. Everything is there. Everything is there for you guys. Okubaleke kakhulu kukuthini ukuthi sishintshe impilo zethu. Akekho uzoshintsha. Sizwile no Mayor lana, we've been taking notes ukuthi sidinga amathuba omsebenzi kakhulu. And ziningi inhlelo esinazo esizozenza esizokwazi ukuthi sifinyelele kunina nilekeleleke. And I was very happy uDeputy Minister ushinto ebaleke kakhulu yama co-op cooperative ezoregister, nifike niqeqeshe khona ngamakhono ahlukahlukene, niphinde futhi nisebenze niphilise ngalokho ngoba uqinisile uDeputy Minister akuthina sonke sizoqashwa. Yabona nami angiqashiwe, I was elected, ngakhethwa, ngavotelwa, ngangena, so angizange ngiqashwe. So ngizama ukuthi akuthina sonke sizoqashwa kodwa okunye sizokwenza ngokuthi siyiphilise thina ngezandla zethu ezikhona, because maningi amakhono esinawo siyazi, kodwa kubaleke kakhulu ukuthi ikhono lakho lisebenzisa kanjani. Ulisebenzisa ukuthi likuphilise noma likubulale. Kodwa ke in this case ukhona nawe Deputy Minister, siyafisa ukuthi onke amakhono akhona kulendlu ngaphakathi awasetshenziswe ngendlela efanele. Abadlala ibhola, dlala ibhola, bakhona uba umduwe bekhuluma la esho ukuthi uneinhlelo zebhola elikhona abantu bedlala. Asidlaleni ibhola, but omunye uthe ibhola uyalibona kodwa masingathola umsebenzi. Kuningi okuhlukahlukene esifisa ukuthi sikwenze ukuyiphilisa. Kodwa kubaleke kakhulu ngoba ngiyazi most ade bekhuluma ade besho ukuthi mina ngubaba kabani, mina ngubaba bakabani. Okubaleke kakhulu umsebenzi. Sikuzwile and sizozama ukuthi siresponde kuleyo call ngendlela efanele. With those words, Program Director, Deputy Minister, Mayor and everyone, siyabonga kakhulu siye Amajuba District, and Deputy Minister usidlulisela umlayezo kuBaba Ramaphosa ukuthi siyabonga for deploying you here in our district as the champion. Siyabonga.